Hello, username 46100. Can you hear me? And Scott, can you hear me? Mic working? Oh man, what's going on here? Oh, that's going to be in the recording, isn't it? Ah, damn it. What's going on here? I'm so vain. All right, I think the lighting's okay. I practiced earlier. Username 46100 and Scott R. You're no longer here. I might dip out actually. But then if I do that, then I have to start a live stream all over again. Okay, I'll just hang around until someone else turns up. Hi, Russell. You're here? Can you hear me? Hi, Helen. Happy Christmas Eve. Can someone just tell me that I'm audible? Give me a virtual thumbs up. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Russell. Thank you. And I'm feeling bad because I think Scott and username 4600 have gone. I'll have to catch up with them later. I'm more organised now, so I've got note paper. Checking wasn't a shopping list on the back. Username 46100 and Scott R. Sounding like oh, thank you so much. Oh, the amount of thought this time round that I put into that. Oh my word. It's a very amateurish setup, but I went on YouTube and watched quite a helpful video, 7-minute video about how to do a good setup for YouTube in terms of lighting. But you wouldn't believe how bespoke and crude it is. But I think I'm more visible than last time. Not sure that's a good thing. Yeah, basically got a lamp light and 20 quid desk lamp that I bought today. But you wouldn't believe how expensive these lights are that other proper YouTubers use. It's just, I'm not going to spend hundreds, thousands of pounds on a tiny YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you, Helen. Yes, perfect. Oh, Scott, you're there. I thought because I was ramming my macaroni cheese down me as quick as I could, and I thought, oh no, it's 6:45, and there's bound to be someone there before me, and you proved me right. And the reason I set it for 6:45 is because again, I watched another YouTube video said that's a good thing to do, because you can get set up and lots of boring things like that. Here we are. Birthday twin, Scott R. Am I missing out on a previous conversation? I think it's going to be a habit of doing this. So I'm going to have one eye on that and one eye on that, and I'm going to cut across other conversations, which is absolutely fine. You carry on. I'm just random person in the background. So yeah, but you've got the same birthday. Is it today? Is your birthday today, Helen and Scott? By the way, I do applaud the fact there are people here already. There's 7 people. Wow. Oh, April. Cool. Oh, the same birthday. Cool. I'm trying to think who I share a birthday with. I share a birthday with Muhammad Ali. Not born in the same year though, so it's not really the same birthday. The same birth date. Well, 2/3 of a birthday. 17th of Jan. So there we are. Learned something else about me. Let's all just share birthdays. Anyone born on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve? It all seems like a good idea when you're a kid, but not so much when you're an adult. Um, oh, Jenny, sorry. Maybe it's your phone. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that my computer is working because I did a, well, I say dummy run last week. It was more than that. It was great fun. So yeah, I think it's probably your phone, Jenny. Sorry. Hi, Stephen. Good to see you. Oh, see your name. Your granddad's born on Christmas Day. So there we are. There's me going on about Christmas birthdays, and your granddad was born on Christmas Day, but he celebrated on Boxing Day. Precisely because if you have a birthday on Christmas Day, then surely you're going to be swept up in the Christmas celebrations that everyone's having anyway, and it's therefore not as special as it could have been. So yeah, shame on parents for not planning better. Should have dodged Christmas. Ah, you got it. Fantastic. So Jenny, you can hear my dulcet English received pronunciation, royal tones. Like a very neutral autistic accent. A lot of people I went to school with, not that I really contact them, but if I did, I'm pretty confident that they would have the same London-esque accent, which for some reason I've seemed to have avoided. I think that's probably an autistic thing because I'm very conscious of communicating clearly and articulating my words. But of course, as we know, as autistic people, despite all of that effort, we are so often misunderstood. So there's me whinging, and we've not really even started. It's 2 minutes to 7. Say Glacier. Um, I've just got an update pinging in front of that. BBC, go away, please. Say Glacier. Well, I've said it twice. Is that okay? I love British accent. I love your accent, Jenny. Jenny, for anyone, what am I allowed to say, Jenny? Jenny, you can speak for yourself. Jenny, if you want to share where you're from, put it in the chat. But I've heard Jenny speak, and she's got a great accent. I love accents in general. I think I said that last week. Oh, I remembered. I have always reflected on a flight. Probably my favourite map or atlas is an atlas. It says it on the front. I don't know why I forgot about that. Alabama, and I'm not even going to. I was just about to try and say Alabama in that stereotypical um, Leonard Skinner, you know, Alabama, really stereotypical way, and I'm not going to try it. I'm going to respect that you can speak in an Alabama accent, and I'm not even going to try that really bad version. Um, oh, Helen's a fan of Jenny. Yeah, Jenny's got a fantastic channel. Been a really big inspiration to me over the last 9 months. Autistic Jenny. I got started because Paul at Adult with Autism gave me the confidence to start my own channel. So we work for the same organisation. So that's again a bit of knowledge, and then yeah, about 3 months into setting up, 3 months after setting up my channel, um, I was at work and listening to autism videos, probably Paul's actually, and Jenny's was one of the ones suggested, and the rest is history. Um, hello from Utah, US. Fantastic. Hi, hello again, Margot. You were here first time round. So I've got my road atlas, which I tried to retrieve last time, but I wasn't organised enough. And I absolutely love this US road atlas. I think it was either given to myself and my wife, or one of us pinched it, stole it, when we went to Pennsylvania 16 years ago. So again, Margaret, if you're happy to share, let us know where you're from, and then I'm just going to be really nerdy and look in the map because that's the sort of thing I like doing. I love maps because I'm autistic, probably. Um, oh, thank you, Helen. Yeah, the humour. Yeah, I just like making people laugh or trying to. Um, Sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't, but I can't really tell if it lands or not when I'm just talking to a camera and then spending hours editing unless people add in the comments underneath the video once I've posted it, I don't really know whether it's terrible humor or not. But I have fun doing it, and have some lovely comments. Um, yeah, the humor. I don't know. Maybe I overplay that, but yeah, I just like just it's just a means to approval, isn't it? It's just like love me, please. And but no, I don't generally just like jokes and puns and irony, and all of that gets me up out of bed in the morning. That's what I enjoy. So if I can put it in a YouTube video and make a point at the same time, then that's what I'll do. So yeah, I've al- and I'm work. Okay, that's very specific address, Margot. I wasn't. Um, I hope that's a data protection might have gone awry here. Um, Salt Lake City. I've heard of that. I've heard of Salt Lake City. Isn't that the Mormon capital of the world? Is that right? Um, oh, that's just really helpful because it's by state. Salt Lake City. Got Pennsylvania, Utah. Um, there we are. Don't dox. What does dox mean? I've heard of that before. Pardon my ignorance. What does dox mean? Does it mean get yourself into trouble? Yeah. Oh, I've just seen the pun. Joyeux. I can't even say it. Joyeux. Joyeux. I can't say the French word that I typed as the title. Yes. Happy Christmas. Happy Neil. I'm happy because I'm doing this. Um, yeah. Don't dox yourself. Giving away someone's. Is that what it means? Ah, right. Okay. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, be careful with your personal information. It's my fault because I asked, but I wasn't after specifics as such. More, states, towns, cities, rather than you know which specific bedroom you're in. Don't need to know that. Um, I don't think this chat's going to be saved anyway. So all you'll see after we've finished for this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. The chat won't be saved. That's my understanding because it didn't save last time, which is fine. Which is why I've got pen and paper. So yeah, just be mindful of the information that you're sharing. I've not even bothered with house rules because would anyone stick to them anyway? And who am I? I'm not a teacher. Um, yeah, but I am mindful this is public, so anyone can dip in and you know potentially be unpleasant. Which is probably going to happen at some point. I'm you know, bracing myself for that one day. Hello from the Faroe Islands. That's incredible. Hello, Joe. Um, so technically that's Britain, isn't it? Have I got that right? Doesn't belong to Argentina anymore. This could be a perfect launch pad into a rant about Margaret Thatcher. I'm not sure you'd want to hear that though. If you do, then the chat board is there, and I shall go off on one, as they say in the UK. My work is public. Cool. That's fine, Margaret. Yeah, just checking. Just looking out for you. That's cool. Um, yeah, you can find out where I work, but quite easily. Um, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. So, it's no secret. What I do for a living. Not that I want to keep it secret anyway. I'm not a spy, but I'd be a terrible spy because I'm autistic and I'm honest. So I just tell everyone the secrets, and then I get found out, and then I get sacked or killed. I was at school during Margaret Thatcher's era. Yeah, I was born in '82, and I remember vaguely um, Thatcher Milk Snatcher. Although didn't she do that in the '70s? Yeah, I remember having milk at school in Scotland. Um, it's Autistic AF. It's Mike. Mike, what the hell are you doing here? You've got a vast YouTube channel to sustain and make bigger, and I'm so in awe of the fact that you've turned up not once but twice. This is incredible. And I know I think you've got three. So shout out to Autistic AF, Mike. Don't know Mike personally, never met him, but he's doing lots of great things on YouTube. And Mike, you've stacked up some live streams over the Christmas period. So yeah, I can't remember which one. I've asked for a notification to be sent to me. Well, I've not asked. I've just clicked the button, and hopefully join you for one of those, at least one of those, maybe more. Arlene in Toronto, where it's snowing. Now, this map might creep into Canada. Um, let me have a look. So it's going to be New York State. If it goes on to a different page, then I'm not going to find you. New York. Sorry, I'm being really boring, but for some reason I'm doing this. I haven't really figured out why. Um, New York. Nah, Kingston. I've got an old school friend in Kingston. Yeah. Hello from Arlene in Toronto. Wow, it's not snowing in the UK. No, I don't think it will over Christmas. Bloody climate breakdown. It's changed the winter the last 40 years. Not that I really like snow that much anyway. I don't know why I'm saying it as if I'm feeling nostalgic about, you know, winter, snowy Christmases because it's inconvenient trying to get anywhere. And I'm 42. I'm not 7 and wanting to go on a sledge down a hill. I'm just catching up because I'm wittering, but then that is the nature of this. I am allowed to witter and hope that there'll be something vaguely entertaining. Oh, someone's just dipped out because it's not entertaining enough. That's fine. I'm not going to stew about that. Um, Born in 77. Yes, your milk stopped. So for US viewers and anyone else not in the UK, not from the UK, Margaret Thatcher is well known amongst a certain demographic for taking milk away from school children. Is that correct? Yeah, because kids don't need calcium. Don't need it. Don't need vitamins. You don't need the state to provide so that you have good health and well-being. It's just it's not a concept that we should subscribe to. We should, dog eat dog. If you want milk, pay for your own. That's what Thatcher said. Minus 19. Whoa! I'm in the Midlands in the UK. I think we had minus 13 about 5 or 6 years ago for like one night. It wasn't that bad actually. Felt like freezing. Once you go beyond, yeah, maybe minus 19 is not that bad because you go beyond freezing. It's just like I'm freezing. I am literally freezing. So anything less than 0 is just colder. I don't know. You tell me. In the US we call it sweater. Different words and different. Fascinating. Yeah, likewise. Did I refer to jumper? Sweater. Yeah. Sweater. Oh no, I've done what I said I wouldn't do. I've tried to do an American accent. Just forget I did that. Don't, because I mean, I'm more mindful because people actually watched the recording of the first live stream that I did, and I find that thrilling, baffling. Um, I'm amazed that people would actually tune in after the event because it was over 2 hours. And people are going to see my terrible attempts at accents from around the world. It's not going to end well, as I'm sure you can imagine. Okay, yeah, let's just catch up. Aluminium, aluminum. Sorry, Steve, I'm just scrolling up the chat and pronouncing words for the sake of it. Um, similar speech to me here in Surrey. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know Surrey that well. I grew up in Hampshire. I've told you that. I grew up in Basingstoke in the 90s. Amazing Stoke. And here's a weird saying because this is how my brain works. Because I'm autistic, I love knowledge. ADHD, I make random connections. So I'm an ADHD. So Surrey, growing up, Thatcher. Here's a story. My grandparents who I'm going to see at the end of this week, all going well for Christmas. They lived in Surrey. Well, to be specific, talk about addresses. They lived in Sunningdale because they worked on the Wentworth Golf Estate, which is a place where lots of famous people live and sometimes where they play golf. And I remember, and I shared this story. I think it was in response to a comment on one of my videos, or maybe elsewhere. Or maybe it was on Facebook. So when I was 17 in 1999, there was a group of people demonstrating on the road going out of Sunningdale towards London, and I was thinking, why those poor people sort of huddled there with their placards saying, get him out, get him out. I was like, who are they trying to get out? And it turns out that they were very, very cross about General Pinochet, who was staying on Wentworth Golf Estate. General Pinochet used to be the leader of Chile. On 9/11, the old 9/11, on 1973, Salvador Allende, the then current leader of Chile, was ousted in a US-backed coup. And Pinochet came in, and thousands of people were killed. Very grim. And when he was very, very old, he was allowed to live on Wentworth Golf Estate, a few hundred meters from where I was staying at my grandparents'. And if I had known the significance of this at the time, I would have been there with the placards, but I was just too young and I wasn't interested in politics. So that was Surrey, the hotbed of radical politics, as it's well known for being. I'm sure you would agree, Helen. Yeah, I know you're nodding wherever you are in Surrey. Let me get back down. I hope that was an interesting story. Yeah, I've just become a lecturer, an associate lecturer at my local university. I know. What that will end up leading to, I don't know. Whether I'll actually do any teaching, who knows? But what can be guaranteed that if I ever do get to deliver a lecture, it will be like this. It will be an absolute mess because I'll be like, well, that links to that and that links to that. And my learning objectives will be a thing of the past and I'll get the sack. So yeah, wish me luck with that one. Fun small talk. Oh yeah, we got Brits are yeah, it's weird we're talking about the weather. Usually I'm not bothered about the weather because weather equals small talk, and we all know what small talk's like. And yet apparently it's a British tradition to talk about the weather. And I generally don't like talking about the weather because it's the weather. So what? And yet I've spent about 10 minutes talking about it. So yeah, get me. Right. Yeah, no worries. Talk about anything. That's what we're here for. I said to my wife, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. There's no time limit. We'll just talk until it peters out into irrelevance, and or just I'll just watch the numbers go down and down and down, and then I'll switch off the computer, have a cry, and then go to bed. Kitty in an allotment gardener. We need some proper cold weather so we don't have a ridiculous number of slugs next year. Yeah, I found 2 in my kitchen about an hour ago. Yeah, just sharing that with you. It's horrible. Just checked, 4 degrees outside. Yeah, it won't snow. It's not going to snow in the UK this year, I say, with the confidence of a qualified meteorologist. Don't know what I'm talking about. Brockham, never heard of Brockham. Bristol down the M5 from where I am, and then back to Surrey. Cool. Thank you, Ellen. Good luck. Yeah, cool. Yeah, in my experience, those are the best lectures, the mad ones, the ones that go off piste. Go off on tangents. Yeah, then I mean, my wife's a teacher, has been for 20 years, and she'll regularly tell me that she had a really good lesson as a teacher. And sorry, there's a very loud truck outside. And and it'll be such a good lesson because it didn't stick to the plan. So yeah, those tend to be the more memorable ones. Um, we're having weather today. Air gives a place such atmosphere. Yeah, maybe I could steal that one and just when people talk about weather, I'll say if I remember it, I'll say that in a sarky way, as is my habit, and then I'll kill the conversation because it's one of the things I do really well as an autistic person. So people will be talking, and I'll patiently wait my turn, and I'll be like, "Did you know that the capital of Utah is Salt Lake City?" And then it'll be silence, and then I have a cry, and then I go home. It's okay because I'm used to it. Build resilience. Um, uh, watched the last stream after you finished it. Oh, grand. Thanks, Russell. That means a lot. Yeah, the 20-minute goodbye at the end was hilarious. I can't really remember much of that because I was really quite tired. I'm sure everyone else was as well. Yeah, it was. You know what? I didn't think I'd have the intelligence to even schedule a live stream. I'm really not, as you've probably gathered, because I've gone on and on about the lighting. I'm a real technophobe. So starting up a YouTube channel, it's like just starting it is a victory because I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and then yeah, I just clicked record or started the live stream, and I didn't even think about the angle of the camera. I just went, right, I'm going to do this. Done. Um, and that will have showed itself when you watched it back or listened to it back. I just had no idea. And this one is like sort of a little way forward into getting this right. I mean, what is the end point? Probably spending lots of money that I really should, spending lots of money that I shouldn't be spending on expensive lights and cameras. But I kind of like just the simplicity of it. Looks okay. I might not progress it very much at all, actually. As long as you can hear me, I think that's the main thing with YouTube videos, like r- autism, music, whatever it might be. As long as the audio's fine, then people will put up with rubbish visuals to a point. That's what I find anyway. So yeah, I'm glad. Thank you so much, Russ. That means a lot to me. So I'm calling you Russ as if we're mates. Russell. Um, Harry, I'll talk about the weather for hours. It's one of my special interests. Oh, I can't do it for a few minutes of small talk. Yeah, that's different though, because if it's special interest, I don't mind that because I'll probably learn something really interesting. Like, you know, the only cloud type that I'm aware of is a cumulonimbus. I don't know why that's the only one that I remember, but that's the one that sticks in my head. Harry, you'd probably tell me about all sorts of cloud types, you know, why storms happen. I don't know. And I'll probably be like, yeah, 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 tell me more, tell me more. But generally, when people talk about the weather, it's like, oh, it's raining today. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm soaking. You know, well, why are you telling me something that I can actually feel, literally? Oh, it's a bit cold today, isn't it? Yeah, I know. That's why I'm wearing 4 layers. Although, having said that, um, when I was 17, around about the time when I stayed at my grand's and Pinochet was staying in this big mansion, protected from consequences. When I was about 17, and when I was 17, I was so cold that I wore, and I counted them, 19 layers. 19 layers. Yeah. And with hindsight, that was because, well, I think autistic people tend to be more, tend to be hypersensitive, and I think that was part of it. But in all honesty, I think a lot of it was down to my diet, which links back to Thatcher. Although I'm not going to blame that on Thatcher because you know, she hadn't been prime minister for 9 years by then. But yeah, I wasn't eating properly and I was cold all the time, even when it was 10 degrees. So I wore 19 layers and I sat in the corridor at my sixth form and played guitar badly. Why am I telling you all this? I guess if you were here, you would then reciprocate with a similar, potentially embarrassing story, um, to make me feel better. And it would make me feel better, to be honest. In the absence of you being here in the room, please do feel free to give a synopsis. I don't need War and Peace in the chat, and I will go, oh, wow, I'm not the only fool in this world. My wife is a special teacher. Well, you're biased, Stephen. Oh, do you mean special as in teaches children with special learning needs? Or do you just mean she's great? In which case, well, both is fine. Harry, it was on Paul's stream this morning. Yeah, it's weird because Paul had put a comment in response to the first one that I'd done. I saw that comment. I went, cheers, Paul. And then I saw that he was live. So I clicked on it. And he was like, right, thanks very much, everyone. See you later. I was like, oh, I've just missed out. But yeah, hot off the press, Paul said in his comment that he's thinking about him and I doing a joint live stream. You heard it here first. I've probably blown his cover now. But yeah, it might be fun. You know, he's a very funny guy, and I'll probably just say, Paul, you do the talking, and I'll do the nodding, because I never know when to interrupt with my really witty remarks. I can do it now because there's no one else to compete with. Not that conversation is a competition, though it does feel like that a lot of the time as an autistic person. Oh yeah, I'd love to get in and book a conversation. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Bear. Oh, got 22 people in the room. This is getting interesting. I enjoy the historical sidetracks. I'm saying goodbye. No worries, artist on the spectrum. No worries. Well, as we all know, you can, if you are inclined, you can catch up with the recording afterwards. Although it still amazes me that people do that because they tend to be quite long recordings. But you can do what Russell did. You can just have it on in the background while you're frying eggs or something. Right, I'm just catching up with chat. Visually impaired. Okay, you know, that's fine. I forgot her name now. This is dreadful. Serena? Oh no, you've got her name wrong. Yeah, she's completely blind. She tuned in last time, and one of her comments in particular, I was thinking about. I was going for a run about intellectualizing feelings and not just feeling what we're feeling. Yeah. So as long as you can hear, like I said, the audio, as long as that's loud and clear, then we're all good to go. You don't need to see my pasty face, because that's what it is. If you can't see it, it's very pasty, withdrawn face, and I'm wearing a very bad Christmas jumper. Russ is okay. Oh, I'm still playing catch up. Someone that feels like a friend. Yeah, I suppose through with YouTube, it can only be sort of an approximation of a friendship. Yeah, but you know what? Doing this and making the videos. Well, doing the videos gives me a lot of structure, something to look forward to because I'm finding work very, very hard. Although I got some good news at work today, which is a mighty relief in time for Christmas. But yeah, doing this gives me a lot of structure. But the comments just are absolutely priceless. And yes, I do get negative comments, but they're quite rare. You know, I'm glad to say. And I remember Paul at Adult with Autism saying, look, if you're going to set up a YouTube channel, you've got to brace yourself for the negativity. I've been doing this for 13 months now, and I can count the negative comments on one hand, which I think is a win. And that's probably reflective of how small my YouTube channel is. But even so, to have so few negative comments is great. To have so many positive comments, it means the world to me. And yes, I'm jinxing it now. I'm probably going to log on tomorrow and there'll be 50 negative comments, and then I'll rewind what I've just said. But yeah, and the point of the original point, to chime in with what Russell said, whilst of course we're not actually friends because we've not actually met each other, without wanting to seem cheesy, it seems more of a community than I've ever had, because people understand what I'm saying. I understand what they're saying. There's a lot of empathy there. Um, and I have got real life friends, as much as I joke about not having friends. Um, but they are very few. And only two, to my knowledge, are autistic. So having this community is setting up the YouTube channel is one of the best things I've ever done because of the community. I mean, yes, I would love to, as I said the first time, I'll probably say every single time I do a live stream. Yes, I would love to be full time, sitting at home, making silly videos, doing live streams, writing songs. I'd absolutely love that because I'm autistic. I like to be in control of my environment. I like to be creative, but I'm not bothered really. As long as something I say in a live stream, something say in a video, it connects with one person. That's what it's all about. And that's the soapbox that I did last time. Sorry if it's repetition. Um, I don't mind either. So I'm going catching up. Helen. Um, its mechanism is found to be effective in the treatment of several other conditions. I'm not quite sure what mechanism. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah. Get you. Um, don't mind either whether it's the silly comment like it's raining and things that are obvious. I used to work in an auction gallery. It was a single skin building boiling in the summer. Yeah, and people would go, "Oh, it's a bit hot." It's like, yeah, I know, because I'm in the same building as you. Um, and likewise, freezing. Yeah. Parody Mike, you're a fool on the hill. That's a Beatles song, isn't it? Um, we can talk about the Beatles. I'm assuming everyone loves the Beatles. It's by law that everyone loves the Beatles, isn't it? Um, Paul Reed, I'd recommend a video pop up on YouTube today. This is a copy and paste of the title for it. Two autistic sons become normal, healthy boy. What the? I got to write that down on my scrappy bit of paper. What? Two autistic boys, two autistic sons, sorry, become. Oh, no, 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 no. So my video was recommended. Oh no, that was the one that was recommended because you watch other YouTube channels, including mine, presumably. Become, and I bet that video's got like 200,000 views at least. I mean, two autistic sons become healthy boys. That's fine. They're getting their calcium because they've got a government that provides milk at school, or their parents provide milk and other things. Um, become normal. Well, you know, this is why I started the channel. To um, embrace our difference and to try and make us normal. No, no, diversity makes the world go round. That's the hill I'm going to die on. So yeah, be healthy, but you're going to try and speak for myself, make myself normal. That is a losing battle, and you're going to make me miserable, and you're going to be miserable trying to make me normal. So yeah, I'll check that video out, but I'm guessing I'm not going to like it. But correct me tell me if it's a good one from your humble opinion. Paul had a great live stream. Yeah, Paul's really good at this. His videos, generally about half an hour. I know I keep giving him a shout out, but like I said, he was the main reason that I started this in the first place. And I met him in the flesh, and he's a great guy. He's really good at talking to camera without, as you will have heard this evening and maybe seen in the first one, without the interruptions and the tangents. And well, he does go off on tangents. Ironically, that was just a tangent, me talking about tangents. But he manages to bring it back, and it's very cohesive. It always comes back to the focus that's in the title of the video, and he does say that he practices before he starts record, but it's a seamless half an hour, and then doing the live streams is a natural extension for him. He's brilliant with the banter, multitasking, and his lighting setup is chef's kiss. So I'm really gonna have to. Well, he's already given me loads of tips, but I'm gonna ask him what his equipment is for lighting, and then steal it. Not his equipment, but steal his ideas. Um, yeah, go and check his channel out. He's really funny and very informative and very empathetic. Um, I'll pause and read this till I schedule for it. No problem, Russell. Uh, Spiky on a constellation. What a name. Hi, I'm glad you're doing lives. I love your channel. Oh, thank you. I was diagnosed last year. My fake channels are yours. Creative Autistic. Good shout outs here. Paul and Adult Autism. Dana Anderson, not familiar. And Phil Lawson. Cool. Dana Anderson. Phil Lawson. I'm always up for finding out new YouTube channels. I found out one yesterday, guy called Trevor Carroll, young American guy. Yeah, Creative Autistic. So Lizzie at Creative Autistic's another really uh, well creative. Um, she really communicates to me personally. She's late diagnosed, so that's what it's all about. It's a channel for specifically for late diagnosed autistic people. Um, Creative Autistic, Lizzie, started at around about the same time that I did. Um, just really well considered, honest, talking to camera, very few edits. Yeah, check it out. Paul, I keep mentioning. Um, Check out Autistic Jenny. And this is where I put my foot in it because I struggle to remember all of the YouTube channels that are so wonderful. But yeah, if you've got recommendations in addition to what Spiky on the Constellation has just put in the chat, let me know because I'm always looking to find out more autistic voices. Not least because I can nick their ideas again about topics, how they set up their camera, their jokes, put them in my back pocket, hope that no one notices. Scott, you in Minneapolis, Pocatello, cool. Minneapolis. Minneapolis is where Prince is from. That's all I know about Minneapolis. That's how stupid I am. Not stupid, ignorant. Um, Same thing? I don't know. I don't know because I'm stupid. Minneapolis. Minnesota. Hang on, how many ends has it got? Two ends. Where is it? Sorry, it's just very dull for everyone, but I'm doing it anyway. Um, can't find it. I'm gonna have to go in the back. Oh no, this is getting tedious. Scott, is that? That's not a big town because I don't think it is anyway. What's the nearest biggest town to Pocatello in Minneapolis? I just love geography, hungry for knowledge, love maps, capital cities, dates. Very probably very stereotypical autistic interests. Sweden, Isabella also has a fantastic channel. Check it out, Isabella from Sweden. I love the walks in the forests, and then you sit down and you reflect. Yeah, doing outside YouTube videos. Yeah, I'm not brave enough to do that. Isabella does it because, well, you seem to have acres and acres of landscape to explore. Um, I mean, I suppose if I got on my bike and went about 3 miles outside of the city, I could find somewhere. But it's England. It's wet. It's cold, and there'll be some person who interrupts saying, "What are you doing? Put your camera away. It's private land." As much of England is private land. Don't get me started on that. Although I started myself, didn't I? Is Alex Jones here? I don't know if Alex Jones is here. Not the Alex Jones. I'm aware of an Alex Jones character in the US. Helen, the autism community is really welcoming. It certainly has been in my experience online. I have seen, yeah, it's not always clearly people are going to have disagreements, but generally speaking, it's very welcoming indeed. Um, it's I think some parts of the community get a bad rep possibly, for trying to police what people can say and do. And I have to say that, to an extent, I'm guilty of being a pedant about terminology, particularly when neurotypical people don't check their facts. But generally speaking, it's a very welcoming community. Dandori, closest to San Francisco. I mean, it's incredible. I just love the fact that the internet can enable some random Shetlander in England to talk at a computer screen and connect with people from around the world. It just blows my mind. I'll never stop being amazed by that. And I'll never stop being amazed that people are willing, they have willfully pressed the button and said, I want to listen to that random dude talk nonsense. And they're doing it from miles away. It's just wonderful. Sorry, a cheeky, narcissistic look at the body count there. Body count's not the right word, is it? Not body count. What would you call it? Number of people in the room. Yeah, if you're going to set up a YouTube channel, and I've been a massive hypocrite here. Try not to pay attention to the numbers, because yeah, I'm always falling into that trap. Like, who cares if I've got 1,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers? It doesn't, 26 people, 260 people. It doesn't matter. Suramin is not a proven cure or treatment for autism, but primary to improve symptoms. Yeah, this is me going to challenge the language. I don't like the word symptoms in relation to autism, because symptoms. If you got a sniffly nose and you're shivering, isn't those are symptoms of having a cold? Yeah, but autism isn't a disease. It's not something that you're infected with and then you're trying to get rid of. So therefore, symptoms. A National Autistic Society advises against using the word symptoms, but it does come up again and again and again. I prefer traits, characteristics. So it's political, it's language. And you might say, well, so what? Symptoms, traits, signs. I think it's important, though, to challenge the narrative, to shape the narrative. I'm obsessed with words. I'm an English grad. I'm autistic, late diagnosed. This is all very new to me still. So yeah, symptoms, not keen on it. But I had some similar discussion, well, not discussion, but comment exchange with Dan at the Aspie World. He's the biggest autism YouTuber in the UK. I made the point I just made about symptoms, and he stood his ground, and he's absolutely fine to do that, as am I. It's a difference of opinion, but mine, is in line with the National Autistic Society. But then, people would disagree with the National Autistic Society. So, Ringo and Paul performed 2 songs together last week. Yeah, they did. One of my former colleagues was there. I'm very, very jealous. I hope they live until 100, or forever. But I mean, Paul McCartney in particular, and I do think about this probably more than I should. That's a bit of a catchphrase of mine, isn't it? I think about a lot of things more than I probably should. Yeah, Paul McCartney, the amount of people that have got, married to his music, or, done, what to his music, and, partied to his music, and just the amount of people that man in particular has made happy. It's just mind-boggling. So I hope he lives forever. In a game where I was a noob, drove attack. Okay, I'm slightly losing it there, but noob is a word that I'm only familiar with because my 13-year-old son uses the word noob. I think it means you're a silly person if you're a noob. Good word, though. See, I love words. I approve of the word noob because it just sounds silly, and I like silliness within reason. Yellow Submarine is a good kids' music, but yeah, that's Ringo on that one, famously so. Um, what does sound? I'm not sure what it means. I love parodies. Excited to see Weird Al perform again. Is that Weird Al Yankovic? It must be. Yeah, he's really popular in the '90s, if I remember correctly. Um, uh, I think I mean Helter Skelter. Yeah, Helter Skelter and Sergeant Pepper. Yep. Dana Anderson. I'm gonna have to check out Dana Anderson. I feel like I'm not paying enough attention to autistic YouTube creators. Shame on me. Yeah, Instagram. Yeah. So get this. My wife has noticed that I spend quite a bit of time on YouTube these days. Uh, yeah, awkward. But you know, she's supportive because she knows that it's a special interest, and she's been with me 20 odd years. She knows that if I have a project and I latch onto it, you're not going to shake it off me or shake me off it. Um, I need that project because it regulates my behaviour. I've got something to look forward to. Blah blah blah. She said, "Well, I think your YouTube videos are okay." Now, I don't normally get feedback from my wife about anything creative that I do, and I don't expect it either. I don't go fishing for compliments. She does her thing, I do my thing. We do, I was going to say we do things together. Oh, you know what I mean? We spend time together. Um, and she said out of the blue, she said, "Yeah, um, your videos are okay, but you need to figure out how to promote them. Your strategy's all wrong, or something like that." She didn't use the word strategy. So yeah, anyway, to cut to the chase, at some point, my wife and my daughter are going to sit me down and educate me on how to gain a following. Well, I've got a following. That makes me sound like a cult leader. Um, Charles Manson. You know what I mean? Ugh. To make the channel more popular. You know what I mean? People are doing it well, and I'm not doing it very well. So they said, "We've got some ideas. We're going to sit you down and get you to do it properly." So yeah, I could be as popular as I don't know, Yo Samdy Sam or Mike at Autistic AF or Neurodivergent or Orion Kelly. And if that ever happens, and it won't, if it ever happens, it'll be because of my wife and my daughter, not me. So yeah, I should dig into Instagram. I just keep seeing Instagram as a sort of glorified photo album, but it's clearly not that. It's a way to connect with people, and I'm just not doing it properly. Um, don't want to send anyone down rabbit holes. So that's all I ever do in my whole life is go down rabbit holes. So I welcome that. Um, this is why, yeah, I don't go out, or I'm not so keen on going out because, as you can tell by me doing this live stream, that keeps me going. Because there's 10 things going on at once, connections all the time. So, oh yeah, John Lennon. Yeah, well, there was an airport named after John Lennon in Liverpool, and I went to Liverpool last February. Didn't go to Strawberry Fields. I went to West Derby. And West Derby in Liverpool is where the Beatles had their first rehearsals. And I didn't know that when I went to Liverpool last February. I only found out afterwards when I went back home, and I was kicking myself for not having done my research beforehand, and so on and so on and so on. It can get exhausting. But you see, if I didn't have to go to work and I was just doing this type of thing all day, it would be fine. I could indulge the random thought processes and connections and wow, make money out of it. That'd be wonderful. But that's not why I'm doing it. But if I could do that, I would be allowed to have all these random thoughts. As it is, I have to work full time, and that gets in the way. It's hard. Um, Stuart at Am I Neurodivergent? I'm not sure if I've got that one on my list. Thank you, Kitty. Neurodivergent. He's Scottish. Oh well, he's automatically Premier League because I'm half Scots. My dad's Scotch. Scotch. Don't say Scotch. Don't say Scotch. the the Scotch don't say Scotch. There's a great Stuart Lee video. Stuart Lee's a stand-up comedian, autistic stand-up comedian, recently diagnosed in his 50s, and he deliberately aggravates a Glaswegian crowd. It's quite an old clip, about 20 years, 15 years, and he refers to the Scotch. You could see the crowd in Glasgow go, "What?" Because yeah, don't use if you're in Scotland, don't refer to the Scotch. They are Scottish or Scots, plural. Um, so yeah, I will check that one out. Fantastic. Torren Wolf, that rings a dim bell. I'm gonna write it down anyway. Academy, fantastic. Autism from the inside, yeah. So yeah, here's a scoop, another one, because I'm on fire, clearly. Yeah, Paul Micallef, Autism from the Inside. I used to be, I believe, called Asperger's from the Inside. Um, my autism penny drop moment happened in May 2022 when I got to the end of Paul Micallef's Autism from the Inside, 9 positive traits about autism. And I wasn't taking him as he shared the traits of autism or positive traits. 9. There aren't just 9. There are more than 9, obviously. But the 9 that he chosen, I wasn't ticking them off, going, "Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me." I was mentally ticking them, and then I got to the last one. I'm like, "That's 9 out of 9. I'm autistic." Now, I didn't just watch that video. That's just emphasise. I didn't just watch that video and decide that I'm autistic. Please bear in mind that this came after about at least 18 months of watching YouTube videos about autism, which I think is quite a typical path to realization that autistic people have, watching lots and lots of autism YouTube videos, reading about autism, and then there'll be a video like the one that I've just described by Paul, that Autism from the Inside, and you go, I think I'm autistic. Again, this is why I do it. Someone watches one of my silly videos and goes, well, if he has those experiences, then and I have them as well, or similar ones, I might be autistic. If it helps people realize, that means the world to me, because because I didn't know I'm autistic. You know, I'm a zebra trying to be a horse, or whatever it is that you want to, whatever animal metaphor you want to pick. Um, you're trying to be something that you're not. That's a miserable life. 4 decades of that. No, thank you. Don't want another 4 decades of that. So if I can help someone realize that they're autistic, then that's it. That's the lottery. So Paul did that for me. Autism from the inside, and he's still really prolific. I mean, he must be full time. The amount of subscribers he has. Not that I'm jealous. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I'm sure he's lovely. I can tell he's lovely. Isabella, I'll change my approach, but I want to have a different style and make content. Soon I'll try to make some education videos. I want to share more of what I've learned as a late identified ADHD. Please do. That'd be absolutely fascinating and much needed, because I don't know about you. I'm not an autism, you know, well, I'm not an autism expert. Of course I am, because I'm an autistic person. And you're an autistic expert if you're autistic, because you're autistic. But I'm not sort of reading books about autism on a regular basis. But I'm getting the impression that the autism ADHD sort of crossover is becoming more and more looked into. So if Isabella, if you're going to make YouTube videos about that, I think they are perfectly timed. But that's just from my opinion, because I think they're not. I mean, yes, you can be autistic, yes, you can be ADHD, but there seem to be more and more people who are like myself, autistic ADHDers, or ADHD autisticers. That doesn't work, does it? You know what I mean? So yeah, look forward to that. I love Map Men, brilliant channel. Map Men, that's a channel. I thought you were just declaring your love for Map Men. I consider myself to be a Map Man. See, I'm a Mac man, but clearly not the Mac man that you're referring to. Um, Body counts if I got on way behind because I was wittering, but then that is the nature of live streams. I cannot believe it's just gone an hour and I feel like I've just been speaking for 5 minutes, but then that's how self-indulgent I am. And I was going to say how much I love the sound of my own voice, but as I said in the first time I did this, no, because I very rarely willingly talk. I tend to be tapping, writing a YouTube script, or you know, just being mute. So doing this is actually really unusual. And I suppose thinking about it, because I don't speak very often, I'm storing it up for live streams, clearly. Because you probably think, God, he must be really fun at parties, just talks and talks and talks. No, I generally find a corner, if it was a party, and think about what links I can make to John Lennon. That will entertain me throughout the whole party. And people be going, God, he's antisocial. I'm not. I'm not saying I hate you. I'm just saying I'm content in my peaceful corner with all this random knowledge. Is that all right? No, that's weird. That's not weird. It's just different. I like doing it. I'm not harming you. Yeah. Um, symptoms need to be traits need to be accommodated. Chef's kiss. That's the phrase that I keep using, repeating. It's probably echolalia. I keep thinking chef's kiss is a really cool thing to say, and then I say it, and I'm like, what an embarrassing dad. Anyway, Harriet, I agree. How could I not? Symptoms need to be cured. So if you're ill, you're ill. Um, I don't want to be ill anymore. Cure me. Um, I'm autistic. Uh, I'm autistic forever. So don't cure me. Accommodate me. Respect my differences, and I will respect yours. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Isabella, your natural this live stream is very interesting. Ah, thank you. Well, I'm up for watching other people's live streams. I'm looking forward to Mike's, well, at least one of them. Paul's, I think he'll do it again. Yeah, I need to go hunting around for live streams by autistic YouTubers because, yeah, I like the format. Um, me doing the talking, but it's also interesting just to see an unstructured monologue from another autistic person. Because yeah, the because counterintuitively, the unplanned nature is. I was going to say counterintuitively, because of course autistic people like to know what's coming next. Um, but the ADHD is like, oh, something new. What's going to happen now? And I guess that the live stream, unpredictability appeals to the ADHD part of my brain. Anyway, I'll think about that one later when you're not here, when you're doing more interesting things than listening to me. Um, oh my word, Paul is here. The man, the myth, the legend. Adult with autism, Paul is here. Can I attend your wife's daughter's seminar? I need help in that department too. God, I'm way behind on the chat. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, I'll let you know, mate. It was totally unexpected. My wife's just like, yeah, you need to sort yourself out. I mean, she says that anyway, but in particular, the context of YouTube content creation. I hate that phrase, content creation. Making YouTube videos. She said you need to sort yourself out. What you're doing is not working. I'm like, what? Well, A, that's quite rude. And B, I'm amazed you're taking an interest in my YouTube videos. So I will let you know. Um, I reckon it's going to be something like get off YouTube and go on a different platform. I'm like, no, I don't want to learn another platform. It took me long enough to get to grips with YouTube. VidIQ makes good on how to YouTube. Oh, Lizzie's here. Oh, Lizzie, you said you'd be here. Yes, Creative Autistic is in the room. She's probably been in the room for about 4 years and I've not noticed. Sorry, Lizzie. VidIQ. Um, thank you for dropping by. I know you're feeling quite poorly. Is that fair to say? So thank you so much. Mentioned you earlier. If you weren't here, we mentioned you earlier. Someone else mentioned you, and I said, "Oh yes, Lizzie from Creative Autistic is amazing," and she's actually here in my random monologue live stream. But that's what live streams are all about. I've said that 3 times now. Superb. Legends are here. Dandori says, "Hey, Paul." Absolutely. Hello to Paul and Lizzie and everyone else. Apparently YouTube rewards you by promoting your videos more if you have a regular upload schedule. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I wasn't making YouTube videos at all for about a month because my day job was doing me in. And Paul knows all about that. So I didn't make any YouTube videos that you might have noticed because, of course, you're hanging on my every word and you're like, why is Neil not making any YouTube videos? I expect them to arrive every week, and then they haven't been arriving for 4 weeks. Well, the reason for that is because my day job took over my life. It's calmed down a little bit recently, hence the more regular, not scheduling. They're not scheduling. I don't schedule the YouTube video. I just do them when I've got the time and energy. I don't say, right, Wednesday I'm going to do a YouTube video. It's just like, right, okay, family doing that. Um, work's calm down a bit. Right, go. I'll do an hour editing while I'm, should be going to bed. Whatever. So yeah, and then of course, the more you produce, the more YouTube goes, you're you're in this for the long haul, and it bumps up your videos. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, scheduling, as autistic as that would be for me to schedule, I don't schedule my YouTube videos because I have to work and it fluctuates. I'm going to whinge about what I'm not going to whinge about what I said I might whinge about Thatcher. If anyone wants me to whinge about Thatcher, just say yes in the chat, and I will do that because that's the type of thing I do. And if you've watched some of my YouTube videos, certain YouTube videos that I've made, you will know that I like a good rant about things that are beyond my control, which is not a healthy thing to do, but I do it anyway. I tried to cure myself at 35. I'm going back to Harriet's comment. No idea. I tried to cure myself. I will catch up. I promise. It almost unalived me. Oh, that's grim. Yeah. I'm sorry, Harriet, but what can I say? Autistic people are more at risk of ending it all. I think we all know why that is because we're not accommodated and we're so frequently misunderstood and so frequently made to feel at fault for things, even when we've had no involvement. Even when we've been absolutely sincere and crystal clear in what we mean, we're misinterpreted, misunderstood. And that accumulates that feeling of not being understood and feeling like an outsider. So I'm really sorry to read that, but I'm afraid that I identify with it completely. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I mean it, and Paul will say, if he wanted to, not asking him to, do more than he needs to do. I'm sure he's just trying to relax. But Paul will testify to how miserable I've been recently. It's hard being autistic, but I think this community makes it easier. Neil, do hours from life towards the required hours? You asked me a business-related question. I'm not a businessman, but I believe so, Margot. I think I didn't know. Honestly, it's not why I did the live stream. I did the live stream because I saw someone else doing it, and I was like, I've been doing the silly videos for a year. I think I might have a go at that. So I did not know at the time when I did the first live stream that the hours of watch time counts towards the hours that you need towards monetization. I was not that cynical. I was amazed. Amazed is a strong way of putting it. I was surprised when I found out after the first live stream I did that indeed the watch time counts towards your total hours watched. So bonus, but that's the way you want to accrue the hours needed to monetize your YouTube presence. Go for it. But honestly, I just did it because it was another thing to try. and I had so much fun doing it. I just could not believe how much fun it was to talking at a computer and having people resonate. Yeah, some of the things I was saying resonate with people that I've not even met. I was just like, I'm just having so much fun. Why is this? I'm still trying to figure out why it's so much fun. Um, but it's a two-way street. As long as people are here, if there's no one here, I won't do it. You know, obviously, yeah, obviously, I'm going to talk, see a zero, and just go. God, if I whinge about Thatcher enough, someone will turn up. It's not what I'm going to do. Um, well, you can dare me to do it. I won't do it anyway. Right. Oh God, there's so many comments, and I'm just butchering because that's what I do. Oh, fantastic, Alan. Please do share the channel, not because I need the subscribers and the likes. If the person you're going to share it with is going to get anything from it, then that's why. You know. Thank you so much. If they hate it, well, don't tell me that. I don't want to know. Why would I? Don't put me off. Um, Ren, as favorite musician, Ren has chronic Lyme disease, and he recently did a Twitch stream where he had the blue tongue because a methylene blue capsule he'd like burn his mouth. Yeah, Ren's an interesting character. He did, you know how much of a music bore I am, but there's I think his first YouTube video, him in a hospital gown playing acoustic guitar, racked up millions of views, and he got a record contract. I think he's autistic, ADHD. I don't know. I should know that. But clearly a really talented and also quite troubled individual. Check him out, Ren, Ren. Yeah, I'm saying that. I don't really know. I couldn't name one song that he's done, not even the one I've just referred to. But it was genuinely like, wow, who is this guy? Um, Isabel, yeah, he's got so many traits that I mentioned. They fantastic. This is what it's all about: education, people coming to that realization, going, actually, I'm not broken, I'm not weird. I'm autistic, and that's cool. Autism, will it ever be cool? I know some people tried to make it cool on TikTok. I've never been cool. Didn't I do a video about that? Yeah, I did. That was not meant to be shameless plug, by the way. But I suppose if I'm going to do shameless plugs, doing a live stream from my own YouTube channel is the time and place to do it. So yeah, go and watch all my videos if you haven't watched them all already. Um, yeah, it probably does get a lot of overwhelming amount of health info. That is Ren probably receiving lots of unsolicited health advice from his fans because they care. I totally understand that. Whether he pays any heed to it or not is another thing. Helen, I've scored very high for both autism and ADHD. Yeah, very. Yes, increasingly, people increasingly seeing the overlap. No, I honestly, but I got my autism diagnosis, and I thought that's it. That's that. Yay! I know now. I'm autistic. Um, but of course, I was in there, and I'm like, I'm into the autism world, and then maybe the algorithms. I don't know what it was. It's like, what's this about ADHD or autistic and ADHD? And then I put in a request for my ADHD assessment, and I'm an ADHD as well. I think you just come up with another Beatles parody. Yeah. Yay, I'm the Map Man. Absolutely solipsistic bovine. Fantastic. Aren't all cows solipsistic? Doesn't solipsistic mean you like being alone? Are all cows autistic 'cause they like to be alone? If that's not a title for a YouTube video, I don't know what is. See, this is why this works in an odd way, or I'm saying that because it makes me feel good. Yeah, it's a bit of a not brain talk, thought showering. We are thought showering without realizing it. Like that. Got to furnish the palace of the mind problems when you start tripping over mental clutter. I'll take your word for it there. YouTube live streams. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be flippant. It's just me catching up. YouTube live streams and text chats are just different ways of communicating. Yeah, absolutely. I don't like conversation because I get misinterpreted all the time. I've got a really monotonous voice. I hear external noises that I really struggle to filter what I need to hear. Give you an example. Yesterday, I went for coffee with a friend, um, an old lecturer that I used to work at a college, and 13, 14 years ago, and he said, "Let's catch up." So we did a demonstration in town because that's what I do on my weekends. I demonstrate against genocide, and not every weekend, most weekends. I'm not sad. And he said by text, by WhatsApp, um, "Oh, we should go for coffee after the demo." I was like, to myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm not so cool about the coffee thing because although it was just him, with someone I know, I'm like, what am I going to say? How noisy is it going to be? And then we got to the cafe, and he said, "Oh yeah, we're on that table over there. Those are all my friends." I'm like, "Oh no." It's about 12, 14 people on a long table. I'm like, not only am I gonna have to, you know, try and listen to him, talk with him in a non-monotonous voice way, I'm gonna have to engage with other people I've not met. It was all right in the end. But yeah, and he wasn't to know. He knows I'm autistic, but he wasn't to know that that's a sort of, you know, thought process that I put into just having a coffee with someone. So yeah, I'm far more comfortable slow marching through my home city with a list of dead Palestinian kids than I am having a normal conversation in a cafe. Yeah, figure that one out. Sorry, it's getting a bit dark. I didn't mean to go into all of that. Although I have mentioned Thatcher and Pinochet, so you could argue that I'm being consistent here. Um, does make shorts for God's sake, the rec channels who want to make long form videos. Um, Don't even, yeah, sorry, Lizzie, didn't mean to draw attention to that forgivable typo. Yeah, don't make shorts. That's really coincidental because actually, just while I was setting this up, well, I'd set it up, and then I saw this video about, don't make YouTube shorts, and I was like, but I thought that that's what you're meant to do. And this very popular YouTuber was saying, don't make shorts. So Lizzie said it as well. Don't do it, or do it if you want, but I was all up for it, rolling up my sleeves, right? Okay, there's something else I'm gonna have to learn how to do. And then I'm like, oh, I won't bother then. I'll just do what I have been doing, and I'll do live streams, um, collabs, so collaborations. Um, yeah, YouTube Shorts. I won't bother then. Um, no point burning yourself out. That goes for any context, absolutely. PF Ballman says, "No Thatcher, but magpies, perhaps." I'm not sure I get that, but you might be able to explain. Presumably because you put the comment there in the first place. Harriet, my job is hard at the moment. I get misunderstood constantly. Sorry, that was misunderstood. Just to clarify. People have said things about me that are provably untrue. I don't understand why people do this. I don't understand work politics. Me neither. I don't do gossip, and I don't care when your birthday is. Well, I say that I asked today, but then this is the autistic community, and you're in my virtual living room, so you know I was paying an interest because yeah, it's a different setup. I'm not at work. When people come in and say, "Oh, it's so and so's birthday," or "What did you do at the weekend?" I'm like, that's information I don't need to do the job that I'm here to do. That sounds cold, but you know me by now. I'm not a cold person. I'm just compartmentalizing my life to make it more manageable. Yeah. So if I'm like, well, I mean, if I said, and I might do a YouTube video about this, and Paul's done a really funny one. I don't know if you put it on your channel actually, Paul. I think you were going to. Um, I did a really funny sketch about being in an interview and saying what you actually want to say. And I might do a video about that if I can get round to it. If I said what I really wanted to say in the office, because I work in an office or at home, um, if I work at home, clearly I don't have these conversations. If I was in the office and someone said, "Oh, it's my birthday coming up," I'd be like, if I could be completely unfiltered, I don't need to know that. Good for you. You got older, but we're literally getting older as time goes on, and I'm feeling older than I already was am because you're boring me with this information I don't need. Oh, was that rude? Was that blunt? Sorry. Yeah, I'm autistic. You know, I don't do that. That's what I want to say. Because I don't want to be at work. So having a conversation that makes work even harder because I've got more information to digest and then instantly reject. I don't need it. Sorry. Yeah, getting angry at a laptop. I know you're all going, yeah, yeah. Well done, Neil. Yeah, good for you. Sarcastic. Um, right, right, that was a bit of a rant again. Um, yeah, don't get workplace politics. Community's wonderful. Ah, brilliant, Isabella. Yeah, and you're part of that community. You're increasingly prominent part of that community. Community is wonderful, and now I have friends that understand me. It brightens up my life. Isn't that what we all want? You know, so we all want to be content, don't we? Sometimes it's just a comment. So I'm going to plug my laptop in there. Oh no, I can't reach it. How's the power bar? I thought it was fading. I'll forget it. Yeah, don't we all want to be content? And sometimes for me, it's just a comment on a YouTube video, um, or just a like, or because I'm that shallow. Yeah, I got liked on the internet today. You know what I mean? Um, Ren has ADHD. Yeah, kind of makes sense. But I've only seen a snapshot of him. I don't know the guy. Um, I believe he has MCAS. I don't know what MCAS says. I need to educate myself because I'm so interested in knowledge that has purpose and is actually interesting. I'm going to write that acronym down, MCAS. Um, yeah, check Ren out. I'm going to have to check out Ren as well. I'm writing that and see my list. Um, Not that you needed to know that, to see that, to believe that I actually have a list. Um, I appreciate creative work, the algorithms succeed, but I probably enjoy things those who do their own thing more. Yeah. Well, I was just before I logged on, I was watching another video by a really, really popular YouTube person called um I can't read my own handwriting. Uh Ruri Ahama, and the video, sorry, is called If I Started a YouTube Channel in 2024. And I think basically what she was saying is don't think about the numbers, just do what you want to do, and the people will come. I think if you're chasing the numbers and trying to fit in with a trend, then people see right through it. But you've heard all that before, so yeah, no need to hear it from me. Solipsistic means self-referential. Funnily enough, because I was going to say sad. I'm not sad. I was actually, this was genuinely not on my table because I wanted to seem clever. Um, Genuinely, it was because the new lamp that I've got to mimic a very expensive YouTube lamp um, was giving me grief by wobbling all over the place. So I used this as uh, like a massive paperweight, which it literally is because it's paper and it's very heavy. Um, so what was I looking up? Solipsistic. Is that even how you say it? And I said it was about liking being on your own. Well, I got that wrong, didn't I? Because I don't know what I'm talking about. And I will catch up the comments. I can see them now. 30 people in the room was still good. Solipsistic. Uh, Solipsism means the view that the self is all that can be known to exist. the, the self is all that can be known to exist. So if I'm solipsistic, then the only thing that's real in this room is me. And you're all pretend. And this is a trick. Wow. That's twisted my melon, man. Um, hardcore solipsism, blimey. I'm not sure I want to know what that is. We're all living in my, all living in my dream. Yeah, that would make, oh yeah, it makes sense. Um, based on what I've just found out in the Oxford Dictionary. Other dictionaries are available. Paul uses the Manchester Dictionary. Very entertaining. Um, Isabel, I struggle so much with noises, especially when a lot of people are talking at the same time. Yeah, I just, and because I've known him autistic for the last 2 years, and also because I'm getting older, as we literally all are, I've become less tolerant, and I'm not rude about it. I'm just like, well, okay, pick on my wife again. I've got a bad habit of portraying my wife to be something she's not. She's not here to defend herself, and she doesn't need to defend herself. She's amazing. Um, she said because it's Christmas, almost Christmas. She said, "Right, I need you. If you're going to go to Aldi, which is the big supermarket down the road from me, where would it be in the States? Walmart. It's not quite as big as Walmart." She said, "Right, if you're going out, can you get?" And she was about to reel off this list. I was like, "You need to put it in a WhatsApp. I'm going to forget it." Yeah, it's a bit rude. Um, but I'm like, I'm ADHD. I, I, I have to write it down. I'm writing things down during this live stream. So I'm accommodating myself. I think Helen said it earlier. So yeah. So if I know I'm going to go somewhere and it's going to be noisy, I don't feel bad about not being in that space longer than I need to be. Or if I can get out of it completely, I will, because I know I'm going to get stressed. So that's the benefit of knowing that I'm autistic and ADHD. If I didn't know that, I would force myself into that noisy environment, and I'd feel like a bad person for not being able to hear what everyone else can hear. So I would internalize all this self-hate, which I do anyway. Um, God, I'm way behind. Ambushed by a table full of friends. It was fine because it was very noisy and very echoey. It was fine because I was amongst the righteous. We've just been on a demonstration against the genocide in Gaza. Um, so I knew, it was, I knew it was going to go well, but I was still making sure to smile and asking questions and try not to swear too much because I've got a bad habit of swearing when I'm nervous. Um, you know, all of that going on. So even though I knew I was with lovely people, it was like, behave yourself, do this, do that. I'm sure you can identify with that to some extent, sort of directing what you need to say and do. Whereas I believe neurotypical people tend to just waltz into any given situation and go, well, I'll see what happens. Like, what? Never do that. Um, I like the idea of being ambushed by a table full of friends. Though. It's like, yeah, people. I thought this was a cafe just for me because I'm solipsistic and I'm the only thing that exists. This cafe doesn't exist anyway. I'm just talking in a blank space. Um, Lisa, hello, Lisa again. Dr. Lisa Sosin. Sorry, I've done that twice now. I said that the first time, first live stream. Um, yeah, I've forgotten what you're referring to there, but I'm glad you recognise something that I said. Cows are just cool. Moo. Yeah, and I particularly like the fact that you've typed moo, um, as well as saying that cows are cool, which objectively they are. Um, that's just not up for discussion. Symptoms, traits, that is up for discussion. But cows being cool, no, not having it. They are end of. Um, tried a new food yesterday. Yeah. So and I've not done a video about this specifically. Bear with me. Um, but yeah, I'm going to meet my mum in a few days' time. So after Christmas Day, my grand's going to be making dinner, and she makes the best dinners in the world. I eat. Everyone says that about their grandma. But when I was a child, my mum was constantly saying, "You're such a fussy eater. Why didn't you eat what I've given you?" I'll be like, "Because mum, it's baked beans and sausage roll for the fifth day in a row. That's why I'm not eating it. It's boring." No, I didn't say that. That would have been fine. It would it'd be like a tomato, just like a tomato. Like it would it's the texture more than the taste. You know, 30 years later, I'm like, "Oh, I'm autistic." There's a I'm not just being a fussy eater. I'm like, I've got a physical aversion to something. I'm not familiar with it. I don't know what it's gonna you know, all of that. Right, catching up. Inverness, lots of medical terminology. I can't even say that. Fend and that. I totally failed at philosophy. I'm loving the philosophical. So I was going to be clever then, and I couldn't even say the word philosophical. I totally failed at philosophy. I'm loving the philosophical conversation in the chat. Please continue. I am just a distraction. I'm like one of the people in the cafe, you know. Shut up, Neil. People are trying to have a philosophical chat. And by the way, cows are cool. So do one. Right. Margot said something there. Bear with me. My workplace knows I don't do birthdays or holidays or anything like that. They accept that's just how I am. Good for you, Margot. Yeah, I haven't been brave enough to do that. And I really ought to because I've been at my current workplace for over 2 years and I still haven't had the courage to say birthdays, no. Um, you know, work gatherings, no. So I was off work. Think I said this in my first live stream. I was off work with stress for a week, and it was the best week to pick. Accidentally because it was the week when there were loads of Christmas related activities, and I was like, dodged a bullet there. Like, I don't want to do any of that. It's just because I'm just have to make small talk and bring a food that no one else is going to like. Then I'm going to overanalyze why I bought that particular brand of sausage roll or whatever it is. Are they going to hate me? Is it going to be gossip? Am I going to be called the sausage roll man? You know what I mean? You might say it's irrational, but I analyze everything. So I don't. If I can avoid that minefield, then that's what I'll do. So yeah, I did by having a week of stress, ironically. So I avoided that week of stress. So yeah, I should just come out and say it. If you have a birthday, I'm not interested. Well done for being born on a particular day. Well done. You know, I think we've all done that. So it's not really an achievement. Um, yeah, I said that to my daughter on her fourth birthday. It did not go down well. Yeah, still married though. That's all that matters. That's why I love working remote. Yeah, likewise. Although I do like so I can go into the office or not, come and go as I please, which I'm really, really lucky to be able to do. It's one of the very good things about my current job. Um, and yeah, as much as I love being at home on my own without all the distractions that I've been waffling on about just now, believe it or not, I do actually like people to an extent. So going into the office just reminds me that I'm part of a team. I'm not just tapping mindlessly writing the essays that I need to write for my work. I won't go into the detail about what the essays are. It's not especially interesting, really. And I just go into the office, if anything, just to remind myself that there's a purpose, and there's a human face to all of this. Oh, that's funny. I just got a job update pop up in the way of the chat board. Go away, job update. I'll check you out later. MCAS means mast cell activation syndrome. Hyperactive immune system. You can react to food, smells, chemicals, or extremes of temperature. I did not know that. So I can understand why people who have MCAS might believe, or might believe justifiably that they're autistic. It might be both. Have to work remotely all the time. Yeah, I do understand why people would want to work remotely all the time. Completely get that. And like I said, I don't want to work, um, the traditional, like, go to work, work for someone else. Mainly because I'm a Mardy Git, and I don't like being told what to do. And I have read a little bit about pathological demand avoidance, and I also read recently that there's the word pathological might. Well, some people are getting a bit nervous about the word pathological because maybe it's just a difference. I haven't read enough about it, so correct me if I'm talking rubbish. Do tell me. But I do distinctly remember from being a kid, that fussy eater kid, that misunderstood kid. I do remember, standing up for myself and saying, I don't want to do that. You're making me do something I don't want to do. So you can understand why my CV is like 19 pages long. But, so yeah, so to come back to the original point, I'm perfectly happy working from home 100% of the time if I was just working for me, because there's no one else. It's just me. That's fine. But with my current job, I do like to make an appearance now and again, just to remind myself of the humanity. Sounds horribly pompous. How do you feel about use of nootropics? Yeah, please carry on. You're asking me, I don't know. But if you're having conversations that I'm 10 minutes behind, you carry on. I'm a facilitator here. I'm a random guy monologue in the background, but also I'm facilitating conversations. I mean, this is the equivalent of people talking in the back of the classroom. So in a way, by talking about nootropics, you've been quite rude actually, because you should be listening to me. But that's fine. I'm cool with it. As long as you're sharing information, you're not just calling me rude words, which I will see anyway, because you know clearly. The kid's got 2 book vouchers for my 10th birthday and bought himself an Oxford English dictionary. Good job. Yeah, well done. Bought it for yourself. I'm buying myself a dictionary today. Nice work. What places you want to be in? Not some university, yeah, absolutely. Work and many other places. Like a toilet, really. Don't especially want to be in a toilet, but it's necessary. Work and toilets, the same in that regard. Lizzie had to go private as her health service has no understanding of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about fellow Brits in the room, but National Health Service seems to be under repeated threat from the powers that be. So we've had one since 1948, pretty much taken it for granted. And it seems like every time I personally dare to look at the news and it's not about the war or wars, look at domestic news about the NHS, it's like, ambulances queuing around the block, privatisation, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think maybe 5 years, 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh, you're going private, are you? Which I'd be massively hypocritical because, my kids go to a private school because their mum works there, massively discounted. Be like, oh, you're private, but we've got a perfectly good NHS. Now I'm like, if you can go private, good for you. As long as you get treated, as long as you get seen, and that goes for ADHD and autism diagnoses, of course. Apparently, there's an 18-year waiting list for autism diagnoses in Oxfordshire, England. 18 years. That will cost people their lives because they won't wait. They'll think that they're broken, misunderstood. 18 years. So yeah, that's a whole different miserable topic. Chronic migraines, psoriasis, and endometriosis, which I've heard quite a few autistic people mention, although I've not knowledgeable enough to know whether there's any link at all. I'm just making an observation. Bye, Lizzie. Sorry if you've already gone. Thank you, Lizzie. You're a natural. Go and see Lizzie's Creative Autistic channel. It's really very helpful and very interesting. She's really, it's like you're, it sounds really cheesy, but the way she talks to camera about her own experiences, well, it makes me feel a lot better about my own challenges and so on and so on. And yeah, she's a natural. So yeah, go and have a look. Um, there we go. I've just going to skip by there. But it makes perfect sense to me, Neil. Yeah, because I'm behind on the chat, that makes perfect sense to me. I've lost the context, so I'm just going to assume that anything I've said makes perfect sense to you. That's great. Yeah, cool. I'm lucky to be an institute on staff, so I don't have to be forced back into the office. Take the wins. Work. I did a video about work, but quite a long time ago now. One of my early ones. I think I was just being silly. If I did a work YouTube video, I would obviously try and squeeze in a few silly jokes, but probably be a bit more miserable than the first work video that I did because it's been a really, really hard year. PDA, stop trying to impact my autonomy. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah, I think autonomy is really important as an autistic person because it's about control, but it's not. I think the control word gets a bad rep because people say control is like a bad thing, like you're coercing people into doing things that they don't want you to do. So no, as an autistic person, I want control over my actions, my environment to achieve peace and harmony, because the world's chaotic. So if I can control, what's within my control, I'm not impacting negatively on anyone else. Well, not deliberately so. I'm just looking after myself and achieving harmony. But the word control, I think, and autonomy, to a lesser extent, can confuse people. They're like, "Oh, right, you're a control freak, are you?" It's like, no, just want to know. I want to know what I'm going to do, and I want to know that what I'm going to do has a purpose. Yeah, that aligns with what I believe is correct. You know, so like when I was a kid, and I can't give you examples. Too long ago, people would say, people, lots of people coercing me. Mum and stepdad would ask me to do something which was probably quite reasonable, and I'd be like, "Well, I don't want to." I'm not being truculent and obstructive for the sake of it because I'm being a naughty kid. I'm being autistic and analytical by having assessed the situation, and I thought, well, I don't think that's reasonable personally. Don't know why I was posh. So therefore, I'm not going to do what you've demanded that I should do, you very tall and intimidating adult, which that situation hasn't changed because I'm very short still. Yeah, that's controlling in a way from, me being controlling, but it's about regulation and safety and, because I'm overwhelmed already. You give me put demands on top of the demands that I already have, trying to cope in a world that's not designed for me. I'm gonna put up a defense. Is that pathological demand avoidance, or is that just self-protection and just looking after yourself? And with my diagnosis, with the self-knowledge that I have, I feel more confident about expressing my needs. Although I'm still not courageous enough to say at work, I don't want to know when your birthday is. So I've still got some work to do. Um, Here we are. Autistic doctor called Mel Hauser, who talks about all the things, all the things. Very interesting interview. Cool. Thank you, Kitsy. Now, I'm never going to get through this list that I'm writing, but I'll have a go. My own list. It's not homework. the mother should get a present on your birthday. She's the one who did all the work. Yeah, well, everyone. I know you probably saw that comment about 40 minutes ago. The mother should get a present on your birthday. She's the one who did all the work. I love that because it's true. Why am I getting cards and presents I don't need or didn't ask for? Yeah, don't get me wrong. As a kid, obviously, I was, you know, yeah, it's my birthday. I'm special for a day. You know, give me stuff. I want toys. As an adult, I'm like, no, yeah, mum did all the work. Why are you giving me stuff? Um, Sorry, you're not a distraction. I'm distracting myself now 'cause I'm playing catch up. I'm worse than I was the first live stream. Um, and entities process the world in a superficial manner, fast and loose. The internal signaling is at minimal level. Autistics process in-depth, intense signaling. I am minded to agree with that. I mean, I don't want to badmouth like neurotypical people do this and autistic people do that. I mean, yeah, I'm saying, I'm not saying we're better than they don't analyze things. Neurotypical people, how superficial. That said, it does seem that autistic people tend to, you know, tend to try and make more logical judgments about things. Does that make sense? Um, I'm always trying to make sense of things. I'm always trying to make sense of, I'm always making links, and I'm fascinated by coincidences and patterns, and I always want things to make sense. And even when I know deep down that things don't make sense because the world is random and chaotic, I try to make a pattern. Does that make sense? Um, yeah. And I'm just so jealous of people. Tends to be neurotypical people in my experience, and that's they are neurotypical people, neurotypical as far as I know, who can just glide through life without the level of analysis that I put on things. And I just wish I could do that. I wish I could switch off and go, right, you're just going to go into that cafe. There's going to be 50 people in there. It's going to be very noisy. You might be asked to speak and contribute your famous wisdom about any given topic. Um, that's fine. Just take it in your stride. If someone hollers at you from over there, someone hollers at you from over there, and you've got two people trying to talk to you at once, don't panic. Just go with the flow. But look, I'm analysing it now. It's not even happening. So I'm autistic. I'm not going to change it. Um, oh God, I'm way behind. I'm so sorry about this. I'm going to get better at this. I'm not witter so much, witter enough to keep the chat going, but restrain myself so that I can keep in time with the chat. I'll work on that one, he says. Although I have just got back to Lizzie's last comment there. Um, yeah, superficial. That's what I was ranting about. What did you just say? Do a cow? I'm not sure what that means. I think I said do one. If you saying do one, that's a Midlands phrase in England, like go away, do one. I'm not saying anyone here do one. I'm amazed. I think there's 30 people here. Well, this is incredible. Um, I'm going to stick around for a bit longer, but I'll see how it goes. There's no time limit on this. Um, yeah, you go. Obviously, you do not need my permission. Do other things. Yeah, I'm amazed that people are here. There's noticed. Yeah, got that one. All management leadership trainings for NTs managing. It doesn't work for any. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I go on LinkedIn. It's quite revealing about my job situation. I go on LinkedIn more than I used to, and because I've decided to follow autistic business people or autistic content creators, my LinkedIn feed is also very much about autism, as you would expect. And a regular complaint is along those lines. Leadership courses, business courses, teamwork, that sort of thing, all through a neurotypical lens, not so much through an autistic lens. So I would love to be involved in autism advocacy in a work setting. So I mean, I've actually led a leadership course, believe it or not, me lead a leadership course. But when I worked at the university in my current home city, I was asked to lead this course, which I did. It was only a small group of students. It was all right, I think. But I would love to go to workplaces and talk to, um, give presentations and give the autistic perspective on what leadership means and what teamwork means. Because I really do think there's a big gap there still, even though there are seemingly loads of autism books coming out now, which is great. YouTube channels, um, articles, or things are happening. And I think because people like us are speaking out and speaking up for ourselves, and the internet's clearly helped with that in a big way. But yeah, there's a big gap there. I can see on LinkedIn anyway. Whether that's representative of the wider world, I have no idea. I'm just saying that's my snapshot. Hello from Canada. Hello. Oh, whereabouts in Canada? If you're still there, Maria, because I'm way behind on the chat. Helen said she threw up on the dinner lady shoes because she tried to force feed me, and I'd spent 10 minutes as a phone telling her. Yeah. This is it. It's like he's trying to make someone do something they don't want to do because it's breaching their safety. It's just taking away their control, and as an autistic person, that's just a nightmare to deal with. Yeah, trauma and autism. Yeah, I haven't got enough time or energy to really go into that now. Who has? Get back. I'm loving all the chat. This is good. This is a good problem to have that I can't keep up. Because I logged on like 10 minutes beforehand, and there were like 3 or 4 people already here, which is great. But I was like, yeah, I'm running out of things to say now. It's only 3 or 4 people here, and I was going, is the mic working? Like, clearly was working. I was just filling time, and then you all turned up. Amazing. Rational drive. Yeah, rational drive for autonomy. Absolutely, it's rational. We're not just saying things for the sake of it. We need the autonomy for hopefully what I've already explained. And then neurodivergents tend to automatically work together to solve problems. Neurotypicals argue about who gets credit for it. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a bit reluctant to generalize too much, but I have found, and this is a bit rich coming from me with a YouTube channel doing a live stream, because clearly I've got a massive ego. Because otherwise, why would I, you know, endlessly seek your approval with my silly videos and do a live stream and and read all these lovely comments? Clearly, I've got an ego, and we've all got an ego to a point. But I I do think that's broadly correct. I think neurotypicals, it tends to be more about appearances, like who's seen to do the work rather than who actually did the work. I mean, in a workplace setting, I don't care who does the work, to be honest, because I don't want to be there anyway. So if we're going to do something that we don't want to do, let's just do it right. And if you've done it, then good for you. If I've done it, I don't want to make a song and dance out of it. I just want to get it done and go home and make a YouTube video, or whatever. So I think you're broadly right, M. Vance. Egos, although I've been a hypocrite because I've got massive ego. I think that game of hierarchy and egos and appearances rather than substance does tend to be sort of a neurotypical dynamic. I hate the word dynamic, but I've used it anyway. That's because I was talking about work, and that's a sort of a work word, isn't it? Dynamic. If I say the word dynamic enough, it'll disguise the fact that I haven't done any work. Not that I do that. I do work. Of course I do. Um, Michael, you're apologising for something. I'm not sure you're apologising because I'm so behind on the chat because I've done that too much. But then it's a live stream. No worries. I'm sure it's fine. I prefer that solicit, but I didn't think anybody ought to find it rational. So if people are resonate, the comments within the chat are resonating, then that's what I said earlier. Brilliant. I'd move if I lived in Oxfordshire. 18 years is cruel. It is cruel, and I'm sure the people running the services in Oxfordshire are desperate to fix it. But like a lot of things, it's going to be about money, isn't it? About investment. And if you don't provide the funds to train the people to do the assessments, then the assessments won't get done in the time that they should be done. And I made that point on the radio in January this year about ADHD assessments. And I was moaning about, see what I said about ego, but there was a reason why I was asked to do it. They asked someone else and then they asked me. And I was moaning about a 2-year waiting list. 18 years. Not good enough. Adderbury is lovely. A lot of folk tradition history. Oh, Adderbury. Oh, place names. So if you've not seen, I've got a map of an atlas of the US. I can't quite remember why I wanted to desperately retrieve this in my first live stream. And I thought, well, I couldn't find it in the first live stream, so I'll make sure it's to hand in the second live stream. And here it is. But Adderbury, God, if any place sounds like it's from the Cotswolds, Adderbury is the place. Self-identification is so important because we don't have time to wait and then don't get validation because the medical professionals don't understand. Isabella, that is a word perfect. And I'm going to be really patronising to say even more perfect because I'm presuming that English is your second language as you're Swedish. I couldn't agree with that more. Self-identification or self-recognition, and it's going to be after quite a long period of time of research. If if you're typical autistic, it's not something you just go, "Oh, I'm autistic. I've just decided." You're going to have looked into it for quite some time, and then come to a point when you realise that you identify as autistic. It's important that that is accepted because you might be looking at an 18-year waiting time for an official assessment. And of course, you don't become autistic when you get an official diagnosis. That's not the moment you become autistic. And Autistic AF, Mike at Autistic AF, makes this point really, really well in one of his videos. I can't remember the title, but he latches onto a comment. I think it was on Reddit. Someone says, "Oh yeah, my sister's not autistic until she's not had an assessment yet." And Mike becomes visibly annoyed in his own video. He said, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. The sister is already autistic. She's identified as such. She recognizes her traits. You know, just because she hasn't had an assessment doesn't mean that she's not yet autistic." And the sister who was claiming that her sister wasn't autistic just would not understand that. Anyway, go and watch the video, Mike at Autistic AF. Sorry, I can't remember the title. Yeah, thoughts about control. I thought you said thought control then. I don't know what that was. Thought control. No, thoughts about control is vital. Yes, safety, safety and harmony. That's all I want. I imagine you're same or similar. Yeah, I'm not interested in your hierarchies. I'm not interested in being top dog. I don't want to be cruel to anyone. I hate cruelty. If I've upset someone, I think about it for days, weeks, months, years. I just want harmony, and that's why the control is so important. Small talk is to establish social order, so the holistics or neurotypical people can work out who has what status. They get anxious if they can't work out the social status. Yeah, and I've had to read that or hear that through YouTube videos. It just astounded me to find this out in my 40s that small talk had a purpose. because for me, it inherently is purposeless. It's like it's called small talk. It's call it meaningless talk. Um, but then clearly it does have meaning because you made the point. Um, so I had to learn this in my 40s that small talk has a purpose whereby neurotypical people or holistic people it have engage in small talk about the weather, about whatever, birthdays, um, gossip, whatever, because it's not actually about the subject. It's about the relationship between the two people having a conversation. For me, I just thought it was a waste of time. I didn't see that there was some sort of bond happening there. Maybe I should have done, but I didn't because I'm very practical. Like, if we're going to have a chat, make it about something that I'm interested in, please. You know, it's all about me and my thirst for knowledge. It's not. I'm just saying. Small talks and it's not. When I'm in Aldi, I keep mentioning Aldi. I love Aldi. It's my second home because I'm there so often. Just constantly buying food and wine. Gonna stop doing that. And honestly, I'll be in the queue. The person ahead of me is having a chat with the cashier, sales assistant, and to be within earshot of that small talk is almost painful to me. It's almost painful because I'm just like, this is such a fake conversation. It's going nowhere. You've never met before, or maybe you have, but you don't really know each other. So why are you pretending? And I'm having to listen to it. And I'm like, where's it going? I'm like, oh. And then I have to rehearse what I'm about to say to the cashier. Like, hello, I'll have 2 white bags, please. Yes, I'll pay by card. Thank you very much. I'm having to tell myself that's what I'm going to say. And I know that's a very autistic thing to declare, but you know, I shouldn't say very autistic. I don't like the phrase very autistic. Autistic or it isn't. A commonly autistic thing to say is that we script our conversations, or in my case, quick one-liner, so it cuts out the small talk. Don't talk to me about the weather. Just give me 2 small bags, and yes, I will pay by card. Coast is clear. Cracking me up with your audible inner comments. Don't know. Yeah, if I watched this back, I would cringe so hard I'd look like a peach. I'd be like, I don't know where that came from. So I'm doing it again. I'm doing the inner comments about a comment about my inner comments. It's like a spiral into infinity. Yeah. So then that's the constant self-analysis that is my life. And doing a live stream where I'm the only one talking, inevitably I'm gonna, snag on something that I've said and then analyze it. But if there's anything within it that connects, then that's it, job done. If it is just absolute gibberish, I'll watch the people count, not body count, and I'll take the hint. It's fine. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 2 hours, and honestly, I mean, I'm having a whale of a time, and I feel bad in a way because I'm just I'm hogging the conversation because how could it be otherwise? Um, but I'm also mindful that you've all got lives, but you also have autonomy. No one's forced you to be here. I'm assuming that no one's been forced to come here. Like, you will listen to that pasty face YouTuber, or else Liam Neeson's called you up and said, "Do it." No Christmas for you unless you listen to Neil drone on for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. I won't be 4 hours. It won't be 4 hours. If it's a surprise task, it would feel like a demand that I haven't planned into my schedule. There'll be fight, flight level anxiety. Miko. Yeah, if I could plan for it, there are options available. It feels. Thank you so much. Because sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy when because my reaction seems over the top when I'm asked to do something or told to do something, and I haven't been given the time to adjust the plans that I'd already made for myself. You know, I'm not making model airplanes all day or, collecting stamps or just making YouTube videos all day. I know I've got things, chores to do, tasks to do at work, but it's the element of, surprise, lack of preparation that, it makes me tense up. I'm like, but you can't expect me to just do that easy flow, like from one task into another. And I was so, um, I felt a lot more at peace with myself, knowing that I'm not the only one. That, there are many, many other people in the world that struggle with that transition. So having that autism knowledge has made me feel less guilty about the struggle to move from one task to another. It's made me feel less guilty about being so mardy. Now, mardy is a Northern England word for being annoyed. Mardy. It makes me feel less bad about feeling mardy when people say, "Oh, could you do this?" Or could you, yeah, can you move away from that? Can you do, what I'm talking about? They ask me to do something different at short notice. I get mardy. And then I'm like, it's cool. You're not just being mardy because you're a disagreeable human being. You're being mardy because you're autistic and you struggle to move from one task to another. And people, neurotypical people, particularly in the workplace, I would suggest, need to understand that. And I have tried to communicate to my generally neurotypical colleagues who have, to be fair to them, they've been very understanding to a point. But the reality of work, things come up and the reasonable adjustments slide a bit, and I have to advocate for myself again, and that's more effort. I know it sounds like a big long whinge, but I'm talking to presumably a largely autistic audience here, um, so you get what I mean. It's not like we're just whinging for the sake of whinging, because if you want me to whinge for the sake of whinging, I'll probably be very good at that because I do like a good whinge. Um, but clearly, what I'm talking about tonight, well, at this moment, is about you know, work. It's not, something that takes 35 hours a week, 37 hours a week, whatever it is. It's not a little thing that I'm just picking on, going, I don't like that. It's like it's a big chunk of my week. If you want me to do that job, you're gonna help me do that job. Loving the emojis there, the hearts thing. I'm assuming it's because of my latest rant, but if you're showing mutual appreciation, go ahead. Or that's even better. Son's been in third for years, waiting list for age and she's 11. Two girls, 15, 13, confirmed ASD just over a year ago. They waited 2 years and referred to private by NHS. Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking years, and that is, I don't know, it's probably no comfort. You're probably aware already, Helen, but yeah, it's very standard sort of waiting times. My son is just turned 13. He's autistic, definitely, but he's not been diagnosed. Um, I think we're looking at 2 years. Um, and I had to push for that. Well, not because I'm, with my placard. Um, I did nag about it a little bit. To be fair, my wife has done the work in trying to get him on the pathway. But yeah, we're talking years. And then you thought, well, he's 13. Is he going to get his assessment when he's 16? Too late then. You could argue, but he's lucky where he is. He's at a school that understands, and that's a lot more than some kids have, I suppose. Um, Small tool, social assessment tool. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to catch up. That's what I feel to have PDA. Also, I'm really sensitive to change that I don't get a chance to be involved in. Yeah, again, autonomy. Yeah. If you're making changes that affect only you, fine. Go ahead. As long as you're not going to harm anyone or worse. But if I'm going to be affected, and I've not been involved in the decision making, I know I had maybe my most memorable meltdown this year. Um, when I'm bad mouthing family again, but I've got a bad habit of doing that. I love my family, don't get me wrong, but you know, conflict arises. You know, and they're not autistic, and I am, and you've got to navigate. And I was being obliged to buy my father-in-law's car because he's getting on a bit. He's getting old. 'Cause we're all getting old. Literally, we are all getting old. Um, so you're older now than you were when I said that we're all getting old. Sorry, but it's true. And anyway, I was being obliged to buy this car. I'm like, don't need a car. I can walk to the office. Um, yeah, I'm never going to use it. It's like, yeah, well, you might need to, blah blah. Be good to have a second car. I'm like, and the decision had effectively been made. Like, I'm going to pay for this car. Like, a chunk of my salary was going to pay for this car that I didn't want, and I had a meltdown. And I felt embarrassed, but I just couldn't. I couldn't speak. I couldn't. I just wanted to cry. Like, I don't want that car. I've had no part in this decision whatsoever. You've just assumed. And yeah, I didn't buy the car, but it was horrible, and it dragged on for weeks, and it ended with me having a meltdown. But they didn't see that, but that's what happened. And shortly after that, they said, "Oh yeah, you clearly don't want the car." So yeah, being part of the decision making is really, really important. Predictability, safety, harmony. Miko, I get excited when I see a new video post by Autistic. Pretty sit and have a live stream on prepping the house. Yeah, if you're doing other things while listening to me witter on, then even better, because the knowledge that people are being practical and logical and listening to me gabble on about nonsense, that's better. So if you're not doing something practical, get off your backside if you're able to, and fix a wall fitting or put up a Christmas tree or whatever. Go on, do it. Told you. Sorry, you weren't part of the decision making. I've been a massive hypocrite there. Okay, just stay put then. Just listen to me. No obligation to do something at the same time as listening to me. Um, Special interest is art. Absolutely my special interest as well. Although I think you might mean drawing, painting, art. I just mean in general culture in it. Um, Let me just catch up with the chat. Sorry about this, guys. Um, I'm really sorry if I've missed comments, but this is the nature of this. It's just going to happen. Multitasking. Um, if you're talking amongst yourselves, that's brilliant. Carry on. Right to choose might just be yeah. So I went through right to choose with my ADHD assessment, and that's what I was talking about on the radio. And people were like, "Oh wow, I didn't know about that." Yeah, and I was like, "Do it. Right to choose. It fast tracks your assessment." So instead of waiting 20 months for my ADHD assessment, I waited 4 months because I said, no, I've waited too long for my autism assessment. I'm not going through that waiting game again. Put me on the right to choose, please. And they did. I wasn't rude about it. I just said, life changing assessment. I don't want to wait 2 years again. Um, my ability to perform to my best at work depends a lot on how well I'm supported. Absolutely. There's a massive difference between being supported and not. Yeah, I've been hustled out of jobs because I've not been supported. I've been bullied. Put the atlas down. Um, I might ditch the atlas next time. Or not. If you want me to talk about maps, I'll do that. Yeah, I've been bullied, and the trauma is a permanent fixture in my head. So I'll be enjoying Christmas and be like, oh, what a lovely day. Oh God. Randomly think about that time that I was bullied. Yeah. I didn't know I was autistic at the time. So when they said, "We want to know what you think about the new computer system or student monitoring system. We want to know what you think because it's brand new. We've just rolled it out." When they said that they wanted honest feedback, they didn't want honest feedback. They weren't honest about that, and lost my job. And that was only one job. Goodness sake. I took them literally. I mean, I know, an autistic person taking something literally, it never happens. Cringing like a peach. I don't know where that came from, Maria, so I'm just catching up. Um, I randomly came out with "It's All About the Ponies." I like that. That's the sort of thing I don't know. It's all about the ponies. Something like a rapper would say. I don't know. It's all about the ponies. I'm just being embarrassing dad. If I was a rapper, that would be my pseudonym, embarrassing dad. No, it wouldn't. It'd be something really short. Here's my favorite name of all time, a pseudonym. Put it in the chat and let me know what you think. If I was a rapper, I'd be called that. And you tell me why I'd want to be called that. See if you can guess. Um, I've had psychotic features like bipolar schizophrenia, so I've also had hard time jobs. Yeah, if you've got a particular neurotype and you're in an environment that's not designed for that neurotype, you're going to struggle. You know, well, I didn't know that for the first 41 years of my life. Yeah, 41. Once my new knowledge had sunk in, I was like, hang on a minute, work should be more accommodating. Why am I struggling all the time? And I'm still having struggle because, yeah, you can put it in writing and say, these are my requests, these are my preferences, and it's a document that can get easily ignored, sadly, despite people's best intentions. I'm not saying that I've been willfully mistreated. I'm just saying that people have their way and I have my way. And when you're in the flow, sometimes the conversation about doing things differently doesn't happen. And if it's through if it's deliberate, and people are willfully dismissing your autism, your needs, your adjustments, your different ways of working. If they're willfully avoiding ignoring that, that's not on. But if people, despite their best intentions, momentarily don't take into account your adjustments that have been agreed, then more forgiving about that. Oh, I think I'm finally catching up with the chat. Or maybe not. Oh no, I am. I'm getting there. Specialist was yeah, getting there. Hi, that's problem. Adjustments and acceptance are conditional. You don't always know those conditions until they're broken. Yeah, and again, unwritten rules. Um, so we're navigating in a world. Speaking for the collective autistic community, which is not a brilliant thing to do because it's just my perspective. I'm just a random talking at a laptop, but um, it seems to be that autistic people I constantly have to navigate a world that has so many unwritten rules that, by definition, if they're unwritten, you don't know what they are. And then we're at fault for not following those rules that we weren't aware of. And then so the unwritten conditions of being accepted. Um, yeah, it's a nightmare because you don't know where you stand all the time. So that's why one reason why I'd love to be self-employed because it comes back to control. I wouldn't have to navigate these unwritten rules. Although not, I would have to an extent because even with emails, I think I whittled on about this in the first live stream. I definitely did. Even emails get misinterpreted despite best intentions. So there are unwritten rules in email etiquette that I'm not aware of. Um, but if I was self-employed, then I would minimize the pitfalls. Um, I'd be more in control, and I wouldn't have to have so many conditions on how I work, because I would be self-employed. I'd be my own boss. But that is a pipe dream as I speak. Um, I'm just clicking on emojis because I never noticed them before, but I also appreciate your rants. Cool, because that's what I'm brilliant at rants. One of the few things I'm really good at is ranting, um, monologues. But I suppose it's one reason why the live stream works so well. Is for me, anyways, because I feel like I'm screaming into the void every day. So this is just a more creative way of screaming into the void. How about that? Don't you like being participants in this hellscape? Thank you for your support as you watch me lose my mind. Primate dominance hierarchy. Oh, come on, cursor. I was going to curse at the cursor then. See what I did there. Wordplay, links, patterns, recognition. Primate dominance hierarchy, civilization after. Indeed, I like the ellipsis. An assessment at 16 is better than late in life. Absolutely. If I'd known I was autistic at the age of 16, that would have changed my life for the better, because I would have had the knowledge and I wouldn't have spent 26 years, well, 24 years. I found out I'm autistic at 40. Yeah, 24 years. I wouldn't have spent 24 years, almost a quarter of a century, feeling like a bad version of a normal person. So we need resources in the NHS, resources in any healthcare system in every country in the world to help people to realize as soon as possible whether they're autistic or not, ADHD or not, so that they don't spend more time than they need to feeling like a bad version of a normal person, that they are different, and if they have certain struggles or certain talents, then knowing that it's related to a neurotype is just a complete life changer. But can't turn back the clock in my case. So the next best thing is to get involved in autism advocacy. Part of that is doing this live stream. Genuinely, um, one person watches it, one person watches a silly video that I make, reads a comment that I put that I make in response to someone else's YouTube video. That might set them on a path. They might, have a conversation with someone else and go, "Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Autism, ADHD, I've not really thought about before." Then this is it. This is my life mission till my final days. This is what I'm going to be doing forever. I started in my 40s. The guy that I mentioned earlier, Trevor Carroll, he's just found out he's autistic. He's 23. Great. I'm really jealous of him. He's going, "Oh, I wish I found out sooner." I'm like, "You're 23." But I know when you're 23, you feel like you're really old. But you're not. You're a baby. That's really patronizing. You know what I mean? So the earlier, the better. Family trying to force you to buy cars. I am buying again. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And you could argue that my reaction was over the top, but I think clearly you're sympathetic. Yeah, it was a lack of autonomy. It's like, I'm not involved here. You, it's a big decision as well. It's not like, "Oh, right, we're going out for the day." You come in, you've got no say in the matter. It was, "You're buying a car." It's like, I don't want a car. It's a piece of machinery. Like, big decision, but I haven't taken myself. So yeah, thank you for feeling sympathy there. Environment is essential. My younger sister's like autistic. She's very popular and loved. My old friend was severely bullied. And the personalities and environments are the same. Yeah. Something about yeah, it will continue to mystify me that medical professionals are unable to, or well, in my case, unable to identify that I'm autistic for the first 40 years of my life. And yet neurotypical people with no medical background whatsoever, as far as I know, are able to sense within a split second that I'm different. They might not know that I'm autistic, but they know that I'm different, and that gives them license to immediately exclude me or make me feel bad for existing. And I haven't done anything, just existed. And yet, time and time again, when I look back, particularly knowing that I'm autistic now, I look back, I'm going, yeah, I didn't actually do anything. I was just, they could just sense by the way that I stood, by the way that I walked, by the way that my face was resting, um, by my monotone, the combination of that, my clothes, because I'm wearing a really jazzy jumper. I don't know why I did the nipple pic there. Sorry, that was really awkward. My jumper um, is really jazzy for me anyway, and that's not the type of thing I generally wear. So yeah, people just make an instant judgment that I'm different, and I'm not going to connect with them. Game over. I've not even said a word. At least with a live stream, I open my big mouth, and you've got an excuse to hate me. Generally speaking, I just go through life, and people judge me. And I've not said anything. I've not done anything, but they just know. And yet, medical professionals, I've had clinical depression for on and off since I was 16. Clinical depression. I'm on antidepressants now. Having been on ADHD medication that for me didn't work. So many doctors gone, yeah, you're depressed. Here's some pills. And could have one person, if they'd said 16 or 26 or 36, if they said, I think you might be autistic, that would have been a huge help, but they didn't. But there was one person who commented on one of my videos recently, said they'd been diagnosed as autistic aged 82. I'm gutted for them. It took them that long, but they got their diagnosis, found out who they were before it was too late, which sounds possibly overly dramatic, but it's true, isn't it? Find out you're autistic, find out who you are. Sorry, I'm catching up here. Energy bars there. I'm going on adrenaline. I've stayed off the booze, which, believe me, it's hard. If you've watched my recent video, you'll know that. But also with Christmas and loads of booze all over the house, so I'm running on adrenaline, but at least I'm not drunk or even tiny bit tipsy. Don't know why I'm sharing that. Expecting praise for not having a drink. What my real point is that I'm in the zone, and there's amazingly 36 people here, so I'm just going to keep trucking. And I never use that phrase, keep trucking, but I've used it tonight, and it's going to be captured in a recording for posterity, and I'm going to shiver at the memory, but I won't watch it back. Why would I? Be over 2 hours. It's already over 2 hours. Crikey. But if you're here, I'm here. That's how it works. Right. Yes, a good environment is essential. Oh, sorry, but I'm repeating myself. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. And sorry, that was a dad joke. Very predictable one as well. But if you're going to tell a joke, make it predictable, especially if you've got an autistic audience, because we like predictability. Autistic youth have more resources than they did before, but that certainly does not make it easier given those resources already. Yes, I mean, I think younger people are in a better place than late diagnosed adults because the awareness of autism is better, more widespread. But diagnosis is one thing, support is another. I don't know whether, my son is on a waiting list. I don't know whether once he gets his assessment, because he is autistic, I know that these things are passed down. It's genetic. I don't know whether he'll get any support. So whilst the awareness is a lot better than it was back in the 80s and the 90s, I'm not sure that the support network, you know what I mean, the resources, as you've said, I'm not sure they're as available as perhaps some people make out that they are. I don't know. Then maybe they are out of reach for a lot of people. Certainly are for me. I don't really see a lot of resources there for late diagnosed autistic adults, other than the ones that I look for myself, primarily through YouTube and watching videos of late diagnosed autistic adults and feeling less alone. It can be that can be the support. I mean, you know, Paul or Lizzie or Mike or whoever, they're not saying, right, Neil, you've got a problem with this, deal with it this way. I'm not looking for that. I'm not going to give me that bespoke advice. Of course not. I'm just looking for that empathy, that connection. Are younger autistic people getting that empathy and connection um, in a formal manner, um, through the health system, or are they having to seek it out themselves on the internet, like late diagnosed autistic adults are? I think that's probably the case for most young autistic people, but I'd love to be wrong about that. I'd love to know that in other counties in England, in the United States, in Australia, wherever. I only pick those countries because that tends to be where people communicate with me from. Um, I'd love to find out that there's loads of autism support resources in those countries, but I doubt it. Russ is back. My 1.5 hours on the phone, that would do me in because I hate phone calls. Um, I'm Russell. What can I say? People are being so generous by sticking around. I mean, it's 9:20 in the UK. Um, I think if you're on the East Coast in the US, if you're in Toronto or where someone from in Canada, I can't remember. You're 5 hours behind, and it's 8 hours if you're on the West Coast. And if you're in Australia, it's God, it's like early morning, isn't it? Anyway, if you're sticking around, I'm going to stick around. And if I'm just slumped like that, then phone up whoever runs YouTube and say Neil might need help. He's fallen asleep on his laptop and he's wasting electricity. So yeah, I'm just going to stick around for a bit longer if that's all right. And if you want to nip off even, um, do it. It's Christmas. I picked Christmas Eve because I thought if I try and do Christmas Eve live stream, that ring is loosened and then I'm in trouble. So I thought I can't get away with that. So I thought I want to do another one before Christmas Day, 23rd. I'll get away with that. Christmas Eve. Oh yeah, it writes itself. Um, yeah, and I might do a New Year's Eve. I might do two because I'm greedy. I love the sound of my own voice. But then Mike at Autistic AF makes me feel better about that because I think he's scheduled three for Christmas Day. I mean, that is some public demand, is it not? You think people would be busy on that day of all days, and yet Mike has scheduled in three, if I'm not mistaken, live streams on Christmas Day. He's got that many adoring fans. Well done, Mike. Good for you. Keep trucking on everything. I'm tempted to comment, do it, because it will remind me what an embarrassing dad I can be and am. Keep trucking. Don't know where that came from. There we go. Aussies will be yeah, be waking up and enjoying it. Yeah, if I carry on long enough, the Aussies will be here. Um, I like jump and it. Thank you. Yeah, and the reason I bought the jumper is because my colleagues said you have to get a Christmas jumper. So I did it under duress. I felt obliged, but I actually quite like the jumper. And as Christmas jumpers go, it's not as loud as some Christmas jumpers are. It's quite a Shetland Fair Isle type. So I did that horrible nipple thing again. Sorry about that. I don't know if you know about Fair Isle jumpers. Put that in my. I've not said it clearly enough. Fair Isle in Shetland. So yes, I think it's quite a subdued Christmas jumper, as Christmas jumpers go. But thank you for commenting. Um, it is a good colour mix. I've never said that about anything that I've worn before. It's a good colour mix because it's usually not. It's usually entirely black or entirely navy blue. Um, and as I've said, and it's not particularly funny, but it is accurate. I'm basically most of the time a walking bruise, and that's the most accurate way to describe my appearance. A miserable mono face, but seemingly miserable because I might be ecstatic, but you can't see it because my face doesn't communicate it. I am mono face walking bruise. I like predictability. I like the same colours. Not harming anyone. Oh, and I don't want the attention. Although I do get some autistic people because we are all different. We don't all like the colour blue. We don't all like the colour red. Some autistic people like to wear the loudest, most brash, creative colours in the whole world. That's fine, but not me because yeah, I don't want to draw attention to myself. He says doing a live stream where he's actively seeking people's attention. Yeah. The hypocrisy reveals itself when you verbalize your thoughts. Or maybe I'm being too analytical. Or maybe I'm being too analytical by suggesting that I might be being a bit too analytical. See, this is either the start of something really good live stream, right? Like, if one new person joins each time, then that's the mission. Or not even that, just the same people turning up each time. Brilliant. Or it might be the live stream thing might be uh, a fun descent into madness. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Because I am literally talking to myself. Although I'm not really. No, I'm not really. I'm talking to you. You're here. You're live people. This is not. What was it? CRT chat. You know what a technophobe is. If you were here at the very beginning, God blimey, you deserve a medal or something. But if you were here at the very beginning of tonight's live stream, you would have heard how much of a technophobe I am. But I have heard of this thing called CRT chat. I think that's this AI thing that just churns out authentic looking text. So for all I know, I could be just literally talking to a computer, and this is just some sort of algorithm. But then, would there be any harm in that if I've had a lot of fun doing this, even if this was fake and you're not actually typing these comments? I know. But if you do actually exist, I feel sorry that you've had to listen to me wonder about these things out loud because I am sort of gradually going mad. Right, let me, in a good way, though, in a fun way. Um, Let me just scroll up again. Oh, Kitty's gone. Oh, bye, Kitty. Yeah, not surprised. This is the void that listens and replies. Yeah, this is the void that listens. That's the autistic community. We are we are a void that listens, not that usual void that just sinks you deeper into its darkest depths. Right, let me just I got back to the fur queue thing. God, why I'm way behind again. Right, brilliant, catching up. Um, I'm wearing an adult diaper, so I don't have to leave the computer and miss a moment of this chat. Wow, as compliment, I'm worried about you if you are, but I think that's a beautifully coded compliment. I'm wearing an adult nappy, as we would say in the UK, so I don't miss a thing from this randomness. Love that. Although I'd rather you weren't sitting in your own muck, to be fair, if you can avoid it. Um, love maps, especially Ordnance Survey. Yeah, I was in the Waterstones, which is a very common bookshop in the UK today. I did a naughty thing in Waterstones today. I won't get arrested, even if you tell anyone. Um, Boris Johnson, who I was moaning about in a recent video, not the last one, the one before, about bad behaviour. I saw that his autobiography stacked up on a little round table, and I was like, I didn't want to look at that. I don't need to see Boris Johnson's face once. Now I'm looking at 15 of them. Um, so what I did, I picked one up and I moved it to the horror section. I thought, yeah, that'll show him, even though he's not here. Um, and I thought, yeah, one on its own doesn't, it's not really much of an effect. So I got four of them, but I didn't go right back to it. Just did a shuttle run like Boris Johnson horror, Boris Johnson horror, Boris. I didn't do that. I was, subtle. I picked one and then I walked around the shop. Like, oh, I think I might buy that book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Picked another one, gave it another 5 minutes, walked around. So I spent about half an hour not buying anything that I should have been buying for Christmas. But I did put four Boris Johnson books on the horror in the horror section of Waterstones where I live. And I was gonna do like the whole shelf, but then I thought I'm gonna be here all day, and yeah, security will turn up because I could see someone move in the background like at the tills, and I thought he's clocked me. He's looked at the CCTV. I thought I'll stick with the four Boris Johnsons in the horror section. Can't remember why I start telling you that. Oh yeah, Ordnance Survey maps. Yeah, I was going to spend the half hour that I did spend looking at Ordnance Survey maps because they are my favourite maps. They're so detailed. Wolf people are sadistic humans. Period. One of the types of people I despise. Yep. Well, talking of whom, narcissistic, sociopathic, Boris Johnson. Um, I'm sorry you've had those struggles at work, Michael. But yeah, I know why I, do this and you know dive into YouTube because I don't want to feel like I'm the only one that has struggles. It's not fun. You know, I like being alone, but I don't like feeling alone. And that's going to be in a jumper one day or a sweater if it's not already. But if it is already, I haven't got that jumper or sweater. I had anxiety and depression from age 8 to 16. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't understand that kids could have anxiety. Yeah, no, nor me. I used to think like these states of mind, conditions, whatever you want to call them, were like adult things. But obviously not. I mean, looking back, it's not like an adult privilege to be anxious. You can't be anxious. You're 17. As soon as you turn 18, then you can be anxious. Of course not. Rubbish. Um, but yeah, a lot of this knowledge, I suppose of a lot of things comes with hindsight, after the event. But if only you've known at the time, certainly with autism, in my case, it was almost joking about birthdays and, you know, becoming something immediately just because of a random date. But it was almost like that with me when I was turned 16. It was like, oh, I'm depressed. Like, why? Well, I say that I'm being disingenuous there because my mum and stepdad were going through a pretty bad split up. But even so, it wasn't just that particular event. It was just a general fog of misery, which I now know is well, did know when I was 17, 18. Um, it was depression, and that wasn't just a single event. Like I'm sad about a single event. That was a fog of depression, and how much that had to do with undiagnosed autism, I don't know. But I'm going to suggest that there's pretty strong link between the two. Like, why am I struggling so much? You know, why don't people get me? Um, why am I walking to the bridge over the very busy road and just looking at the traffic? You know, just that wasn't really to do parental split up. That was just I'm not made for this world. Um, yeah, undiagnosed autism would have been really helpful to have had that knowledge much sooner. At least my wife can support your son. I can, yeah, yeah. You'd expect me to say this, but it's just a fact, and I only spit facts and bad dad jokes. But my wife is amazing. Um, you know, she has put up with me for 2002. We got together, so yeah, 22 years, almost 23 years, and she's had to put up with the what externally looks like just moodiness, um, depression, the manifestation of my regular bouts of depression. She's put up with all of that. My needs to be, not really a preference, a need to spend so much time on my own. Which is one reason why YouTube works so well for me. It's because it's a solitary pursuit in the sense of one person, one computer. Um, I'm not. I'm just in the zone, and she puts up with that amount of time that I spend just creating, commenting, and that's just one thing that she has to put up with. So yeah, I'm really lucky. And with our son, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what an amazing mother she is. She's just is. She just is. Both of them. Um, so alcohol would worsen paranoid delusions where I thought my food was poison. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go on about booze right now, unless there's a sudden demand to hear everything that I have to say about alcohol. But I think I waffled on enough about it in my last video. Or, well, I say that maybe not, but I did try to cover pretty much all that I thought about alcohol, albeit it was only a 5.5 minute video. But yeah, it's just I know I really struggle between because it's getting in the UK, it's getting dark at 4 o'clock. Although days are getting longer now, in terms of daylight. So, but yeah, I really struggle. Like as soon as it gets dark and it's like tea time, which in this house is like 5 o'clock. That 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock window, I'm like, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink. I'm not like having the shakes or anything. I am having alcohol counselling, free admission, um, but I'm not dependent on alcohol. Um, but I can see how easily it can happen. Stress, undiagnosed autism or diagnosed being autistic but struggling in the world not designed for us, and so on and so on. So I'm really struggling with the dark and the cold. Um, but doing the live stream, believe it or not, was an incentive not to have one glass of wine. And it wasn't going to be one glass of wine. It was going to be two, 2.5. Oh, whoops a daisy, bottle of wine. Oh, it's Christmas. It's all right. It's like, no, I'm doing a live stream because I know if I have a drink, then it's going to be even more of a mess than it already is. Um, so yeah, thank you for being my incentive not to take the easy option by having wine. So I'll have wine tomorrow. It's fine. I'm not saying don't drink. You do what you want. But for me, I'm never gonna, unless my doctor says don't because you'll topple over. But I'm never gonna absolutely stop. But it's the scaling back to the point where I'm not relying on it to get through certain parts of the day. It's just not sustainable. And doing the YouTube is one reason that Yeah, it makes me happy, you know? And alcohol does in the moment, but, you know, I know it's just Spone's misery. Um, so anyway, waffling on about my emotions there, like it's a therapy session, which I suppose it is in a way. I'll be honest with you, I found the first live stream and this as well extremely cathartic. So, you know, if you are thinking of setting up your own YouTube channel, and if you are, go for it. Um, I would definitely recommend doing this if you were minded to talk at a laptop. Um, although I did find out only this evening that you can only do a live stream once you've got 1,000 subscribers. So get me, I've got 1,000 subscribers, man. So I'm allowed to do a live stream. Um, I think there might be a hack where you don't have to have 1,000 subscribers, but I couldn't be bothered to read about it. Um, right, let me catch up. Blimey, people still here. 25 people still here. I'm still trucking. I'm still here. I haven't been. There's no knock on the door saying, you know, you do have a family. It's Christmas. What the hell are you doing? You've been on this for 2 hours and 40 minutes, or actually longer than that, because I clocked on at 10 to. I haven't had a knock on the door, although I'm going to have to lean under the table shortly to plug in my laptop. Um, so I've got more energy than my laptop. I'm defeating the laptop. I'm talking rubbish now. Right, what have we got here? Got oh, Toronto, perfect. Oh my word, I've got so much catching up to do as usual. Right, 8:16, right, cool. The outside family said that I sound depressed, and I'm not at all. Maybe just sound bored to them. I'm usually just either feel numb or I'm fine. I'm not sure. Yeah, like I said, my mum would get really cross with me just for responding to her. And she said, "Well, what's up with you?" It's like, nothing. I'm chill, man. I'm chill. And it would wind her up. She's like, "You're being sarcastic." I'm not being sarcastic. And I wasn't. Yeah. People like, I've been in the pub when I thought that that was what you were meant to do. That's what you should do. I've been in the pub and people like, "Oh, cheer up, mate." I've talked about this in another video. I'm fine. I was happy until you came along and said, "Cheer up." Now you've ruined my night. I'm going home. Telling me to cheer up. Just because my face doesn't look cheery doesn't mean I'm not cheery. Um, right, let's get that. Brazil. Hello in Brazil. Uh, I can't even say hello in Portuguese. All I can remember in Portuguese is thank you. Obrigado. Obrigada. 57 years old from Brazil. Hello, Vera. Um, welcome. Yeah, hard getting diagnosis. But you know, you've fought your way to get that diagnosis. That's what it's all about. But self-recognition is valid while you're waiting, and you've done your research, and you know that you're autistic. Professor didn't realise, no diagnosis, no concrete conclusion. Yeah, late 80s. I can't even begin to imagine how difficult it'd be to get a diagnosis, autism diagnosis, in the late 80s in the UK, or probably anywhere. You know. Um, Some I felt kind of bad mourning. Yeah, post-diagnosis grief every day of my life personally. You know, it's like 26 years of feeling like a bad person. Like I can't. That's 26 years. No, in 26 years from now, I'm going to be 68. Yeah, big chunk of your life, isn't it? It's like you only got one life. You know, lost quarter of a century. Well, so 24 years early, isn't it? Anyway, you know what I mean. Ballpark figure. Let's call it 25. Quarter of a century, just feeling like a misfit. We're not misfits. We're just different. Um, so I'll go back to my comment about Fair Isle, random Fair Isle comment. Sorry if I've missed comments that came before that. Sorry, I keep saying sorry. Vancouver. Yay, I love Vancouver. Random fact, whenever I see Vancouver, I always think of the 1994 Commonwealth Games. And I really want to go to Vancouver, partly for that reason. And also, I mean, really, really sad. Um, but there's a bit of the US really near to Vancouver. And what's it called? It's a strange anomaly whereby the border of the US and Canada is like a straight line, but that straight line takes in a little at the end of a peninsula from Canada. I can't remember the name of it, but because that little bit of the peninsula is in the US, it's got a whole different. Well, the currency's different, it's got different post offices, and it's an offence unless you show ID. If you like cross the road, then you're committing a crime because you've gone from one country into another without going through some sort of border check. Believe me, it's true. And I found out about this through a blind boy. Uh, what's his name? Blind Boy Boat Club. Sorry, I misspelled that. Oh, I wish I could remember it. Anyway, if you look at a map, look for Vancouver, look at the boundary, the border, Canada, the US, and there's a little bit that is in the US, and the rest of it's in Canada, and it's just this sort of weird territory that has a different system to the rest of Canada. I'm going to type it in here, and while you cogitate, mull over what I've just shared with you because it's so fascinating, I'm going to randomly duck under the desk and recharge my computer by switching the on switch on. So check out that podcast that I've just put in the chat if you are minded to do so. Bear with. Right, that's charging up again. Blind Boy Podcast. So yeah, Blind Boy Boat Club podcast. So guy called David Chambers in Ireland, really popular podcast, and late diagnosed autistic adult. So he does a deep dive into various subjects for each podcast. And yeah, really interesting guy. And I would say that because he's a late diagnosed autistic adult, but he's unlike myself, he's hugely popular and he is self-employed. He does his podcast and other bits and bobs, and presumably never has to leave the house. Lucky man. Right, let me get up to you. Right. Sorry, solipsistic Bova. I'm not surprised because this is a bit of a marathon, but I'm still here for it. 31 people here, incredible. God, what's it? It's going to upload to my YouTube channel. Probably going to crash YouTube. I'll have the whole thing. Got 3-hour videos. But then that's not true, is it? Because you get people film themselves watching a film for 6 hours and people will watch that. So actually that makes me feel better about carrying on with this because this is like meaningful content. Yeah. Telling you about anomalies on the US Canada border. Oh, my daughter's in the room. How random and ever so slightly awkward. Grace Lawrenson. I'm looking up to the ceiling because she's in the room above me. Well, I hope you're having fun, darling. You can give me your cutting, savage feedback afterwards, and you can say, "Dad, why are you talking like that? Well, you don't normally talk like that." Darling, I don't normally talk. You know that. So yeah, I'll look forward to the post-mortem with my daughter there. So everyone say hello to Grace if she's still around. Um, when I think of autism, a nice way to take an interest. Thank you, Grace. When I think of autistic people, though, I think of Peter Bellamy, the folk singer out of East Anglia. Um, oh, I heard Mummy laugh up there. Sorry, Mummy, that's my wife. Um, they're both watching it, aren't they? Yeah. They're both so bored on Christmas Eve, they've decided to watch my random live stream. So I'm going to get mockery from two angles as soon as I'm done. So yeah, that will be when the wine comes out. Oh well, pretext to get drunk then. The mockery from within my own family. Yes, getting a diagnosis helps us be kinder to ourselves. Such a relief to finally understand why I feel different from people around me. Finding out my 60s is better than ever. Absolutely right. Um, yeah, it's for me, massive part of the diagnosis is just being nicer to myself, not saying, right, that's what everyone else does. So why aren't you doing it? It's you're allowed not to do what everyone else seems to be doing. That's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. So yeah, big reason why having a diagnosis or having that self-recognition is so important because you're not being horrible to yourself. I'm still here, but I've been caring about my kids simultaneously. Yeah, I guess I am in a way. I'm caring about my daughter who's in the chat in my own live stream. But what I'm not caring so much about is the inevitable savage analysis from my wife and daughter when I'm done. Believe me, it will happen. They'll be like, why did you say that? Why are you wearing that jumper? Why are you talking at a laptop? Why don't you watch a film or drink red wine like everyone else does? Well, I will in good time. Live stream comes first, yeah? Then family. Um, that's right. Yeah, that's the right order, yeah. Um, fellow technophobe here, yeah. I mean, I'm using a laptop. I've managed to plug it in, so I can't be that technophobic. But that's about the level of my skill. I can hear someone approaching the door. You know what I'm not. What I like about surprises. Someone knocks on that door. That's going to disrupt my flow. I'm not saying I'm going to have a meltdown, but I will struggle with the transition. So I'm keeping my eye on the door, which is directly in front of me. Because I've switched the laptop since the first live stream because the lighting was so bad and blah blah blah. Please add me to the Easy Boozing Technophobe groups. Oh dear, Easy Boozing is so fun. Autistic Cat Lady. Hello, Autistic Cat Lady. Finally found a name to have felt fantastic. Oh God, I'm so behind still. Ha ha, Boris, Horace, Horror Section Boris. It's quite difficult to say that. Horror Section Boris. Yeah. Boris Johnson is a horror. Yep. I'll have no dissent. That is factual. Sorry if you are a Boris fan. We should make this a thing nationwide. Well, it's done before. If you're talking about moving books from one section of a bookshop to another, so yeah, the Tony Blair, going back a few years ago, people used to move his book to the crime section. Yeah, I joined in with that. Why not? I haven't mucked in my other. Oh, that's good news, Paul. Drug and alcohol stop working for me. Oh well, kind of hoping that happens for me as well. Um, because it can't be good for my insides. I was definitely suffering from anxiety depression from 12 until I left school. As soon as I left secondary, the weight was lifted. Well, I'm sad to hear that you know, was suffering, but then there was an end point to that. A lot of autistic people describe how dreadful school was. But I have to say, I really enjoyed school, secondary school, high school. And I think the main reason for that is because, well, two reasons: the structure of the day, and that the fact that I had sort of clear goals for which I got praised for achieving. So I've been praised for demonstrating that I had knowledge. So that's great for me. Like, you want me to name all the counties in England? I will do that. You're going to give me 10 out of 10 and a certificate? Not just for that, but doing well. Yeah, great. So I left school for 5 years. Then it all went wrong at sixth form. Um, yeah, 16, 17. Fog of depression, as I've already described. Mum and stepdad splitting up. And ironically, having more autonomy, because you're expected in sixth form to sort of be in more ownership of your studies. It didn't work for me. Um, I clearly relied upon teachers in school to tell me where I needed to go. But yeah, I've not really thought that one through. There's probably hormones and stereotypical reason why I might have struggled so much in sixth form. But yeah, you would have thought that if I'd had more autonomy as an autistic person, I would have got on better with sixth form. But I really did not. Um, Paul is live over at Adult Autism. So what are you all doing, guys? If you've probably read that about 10 minutes ago. If you're still here, Paul is live. He is live now. Go and see. He's over at Adult with Autism doing his second live stream of the day, I think. So go and see him. But if you're willing to watch a middle-aged man have a YouTube live streamed crisis, then stay here. That's fine. Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear about that Marine friend, Michael. And Russell, my friend from Business About drank a lot and died and only 50. That's not good. Lost Connections by Johan Hari is also excellent about depression. Well, guys say obrigado, girls say obrigada. Yeah, I knew there was a feminine, masculine. Thank you, Vera. I used to teach a couple of Portuguese students, not for very long because I was rubbish, but it's nice to meet them. Yeah, it's accused of being sarcastic or being unhappy all the time. Paul never found alcohol give much of a nice feeling. I hate feeling that. Yeah, I'm almost jealous of that, to be honest. Used to drink a lot. I said then lived in a dry country for 6 months, lost my alcohol tolerance. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to keep bringing up booze, but I'm glad I did the video about it because, clearly a lot of autistic people have drunk to try and fit in and mask and deal with depression and trauma. So, what might have been a bit of a sort of silly sort of niche thing to talk about in the context of autism, but evidently not. If I'm only going on the comments that people kindly shared in response to the video. And I would say if you're thinking of making starting your own YouTube channel, trying to predict what topics will resonate with people is it's really I'm saying impossible. I'm sure someone's figured out a formula working out what will be more popular than something else, but I haven't figured it out. I never know. I just ping it out there and just do that. And then the video, the videos that I'm like, oh, I really hope that one's going to latch on and people are going to, loads of people are going to watch it and sinks like a stone. And then some videos where I'm more indifferent about, log on the next day and like, people have really responded to that. I can't figure it out. So yeah, don't try and predict what will be popular. Just do what you want to do. Isabella, I think you're talking about my wife and daughter. They only say beautiful words to you, I hope. Yeah. That there's never been a more appropriate emoji than Isabella's wink emoji with tongue lolling out. Yeah, right. My wife and daughter are going to share just beautiful words about this live stream. No, not going to happen. It's going to be relentless mockery. My Autism diagnosis saved my life. I'm still fighting to stay alive, but that piece of paper holds a bit more weight. Maria, yeah, saved mine too. Saved mine too. Because undiagnosed, I was just suicidal, and so yeah, phoned up. So in the UK, it was a crisis helpline, and the most important telephone conversation I've ever had in my life. Within 2 minutes, the woman I was speaking with said, "Have you considered an autism assessment?" No one had ever suggested that in the previous 40 years of my life. So yeah, I'm with you, Maria. Neil, you need to get a magic hand of tea fairy. Autistic AF has one. Does he? Mike has one. Well, I don't even know what that is. A magic. You mean someone? A member of the family to. Yeah, because I've been doing this for so long. I might need refreshment. Well, trying to recruit someone within my own family to assist with my YouTube hobby. Let's call it for what it is. That's It's not going to happen. They're only logged in to make fun of me. They're not going to make me tea. Although it's a great suggestion. I'm gonna ask them if they'd be willing, but that's just be another reason just to laugh. So I'm making you tea while you're doing YouTube. Got better things to do, like watching that non-existent paint dry. That's the cutting remark I'll get from my daughter or my wife or both simultaneously. Be a chorus of rudeness. No, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with setting up my wife to be a tea fairy. I think she'd assert her own autonomy, and rightly so. So I'm not going to be your tea fairy. Get out. But I hear what you're saying. I need possibly to pause, and I will. I will wind up eventually on Christmas Day. Um, yeah, I'm glad you at least had the paper to help you fight for support. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, having well, it depends which way you look at it, but having an official autism diagnosis, well, literally piece of paper, can be, you know, it's really influential in terms of getting support, belief from people. Just to being understood to an extent. Um, and some people just won't believe you if you haven't got an official diagnosis. And we know that you know self recognition of being autistic is valid. And yes, I know about people on TikTok and places like that who pretend that they're autistic because Paul, adult with autism's done a really good video about this. One of his older ones, I think, where people will say, "Oh, if you've got a particular trait, then that means you're autistic." When we know, or we should know, I think, that autism, you're on the spectrum if you display a combination of traits in the plural, not just one thing, one quirky thing, like, "Oh, I'm autistic because I count everything in fours," which is the example that Paul uh, draws attention to and mocks in one of his videos, because that's one of his colleagues. That's what one of his colleagues said, "Oh, I count everything in fours, so I must be autistic." So no, it's not. It's not how it works. So there are people who just say, "Oh, I'm autistic," and yes, unfortunately, shamefully, to attract views or whatever it is. So self-recognition is valid, but yeah, unfortunately, having that piece of paper sometimes is the one thing that will convince people that you are autistic and you need support, and it's life-changing. But I think life-changing more because rather than trying to convince other people that you are autistic, but preferably both. Um, that you feel the benefit and other people respect that you are autistic. Um, right, hang on. Kitty resonates with my experience of sixth form. Yeah, I mean, it was a fine sixth form. It's just I was not in the right, well, literal space, little in a headspace. It was just horrible. Um, Right, just bear with me. Okay, I think I'm just about catching up. I'm not surprised because the viewing figures are dwindling. People are, well, shame on you. You're actually leaving to go and do other things. It's just, how dare you? I think you'll be distracted by someone constantly walking up to him during streaming. That's, yeah, Isabella. Yeah, someone leans in to give me a cup of tea. I'll probably be like, I was mid-flow. I was making this really witty remark, and you've interrupted me by kindly giving me a cup of tea or wine or water. Got water here, but I've a sip of water. It's not gin, I promise. You'd know it was gin because I'd recoil. I'd be like, ugh. I don't drink gin anyway. Right. Works fine at school. It's continuous bullying from the other girls that did it. Yeah, my wife went to an all-girls school, and yeah, she would say that, well, she has said to me, she's obviously not going to say to you, she's not here, that she was bullied at school. It's not fun. So annoying when people tell us to smile. Hi from Canada. Hi from the UK, and yeah, it is annoying because it's forced, you know, and I don't want to smile because it seems fake. And I do smile. You might have seen me smile this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, whatever time of day it is where you are. But yeah, I can smile. It's just I don't want. I've done it just now. Um, but it's the smiling on demand because that's the apparently universal way of conveying that you're happy. Now, yes, I get it. I mean, an emoji, a smiling emoji means you're happy. Um, but for whatever reason, you know, my autistic self doesn't lend itself to allowing my face to crease up that way as much as other people do it naturally. I don't know why. So if you tell me, "Oh, cheer up, smile," I'll be like, "Well, I'm having to consciously do another thing that I didn't want to do." I'm smiling now. That was natural. That's my choice. That's fine. That's different. Don't tell me to smile. If I laugh at my own jokes, then that's fine. I'm in control. Um, Even with a piece of paper, supports come with conditions. You have to meet certain criteria. Almost level two. It's told to be applied. I assume it's level two. Yeah, Maria. Yeah, it's gonna the health systems, the autism assessments, the support that's available clearly is going to vary from. Well, I was going to say from country to country, but in the UK from county to county, from town to town. You know what they might call that a postcode lottery. Or in the US, what would you call it? A zip code lottery. You know, the level of service depends on where you live. Like, you know, it's potluck, you know, and it shouldn't be that way. Um, Sorry, that was another political broadcast, but that's what I do. The corridors at my school, strong smell of Dettol. If I smell Dettol, takes me right back there. Yeah, Russell, I think pretty confidently can confidently say that that's a common UK memory. You know, that Dettol smell, corridors, ugh, you immediately zoom back like what's his name in Quantum Leap, straight back there. Like what? I'm back in this horrible brown or grey corridor, and it stinks of Dettol. And someone's going to come up to me and tell me to smile or tell me to do something else that I don't want to do. Um, Fellow Canuck there, I think was that a Canada thing? Sorry, missed that. Um, Chai tea in the morning, Blue Lotus at night. That's just poetry, that is. I don't know if that's a literal description of where you're at, what you're doing, but that just looks lovely in the chat. Sorry, weird observation, but you know, just like the look of words sometimes. The only reason we even become aware of autism in our family is because my daughter was suicidal at the age. Yeah, yeah, probably maybe with live streams. I'm learning as I'm doing, as you can clearly see. You know, content warning. But you know, you can speak for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure that you know, in choosing to take part in a live stream, you know that there's going to be a chance that we're going to talk about some dark topics. So I'm sorry if it has got darker than people anticipated, but I'm pretty sure that, most, if not all of you, thought at some point in the live stream we're going to talk about dark subjects related to autism. And I'm sorry to read that. Um, but I've declared my own circumstances in terms of autism diagnosis, and unfortunately, I think it's very common. So I'm sorry to read that, but I do think that by sharing, as Paul, adult with autism, would say, the dark side of autism, I think by sharing that, we're helping, because people can identify with those dark times and go, well, if that person felt that way, as grim as it was, and I'm feeling that way, then it's not so much that I'm a bad person and that I'm destined to be unhappy. I might be undiagnosed autistic. So we share the dark side to help people find their own way to a diagnosis or not a diagnosis, whatever it might be. The most important criteria that is often missed from the autism traits video is that the traits have to have a significant detrimental effect on your life. Something to think about, Harry. Yeah, I mean, I've said in one of my videos, I get a bit ticked off about the 5 signs or 10 signs videos, although I do get how convenient they are. And indeed, one of them, Paul's, that autism from the inside, was my autism light bulb moment. So I do absolutely see the purpose of 5 signs, 10 signs, or 5 traits, 10 traits, whatever. But yeah, you got me thinking there. Maybe people ought to spend more time when they make these videos, talk more about the detrimental effects on people's lives rather than the, dare I say, more superficial, um, you know, traits that have less of an impact on people's lives. Yeah, hear what you're saying there. Paul's live. Yeah, Mike is also surrounded by cats, the autistic cats. So he's always distracted. Yeah, don't know how he deals with that. But some people don't like that. Fine, you're not harming anyone. I mean, I don't know that. I don't stim, although I don't know that because I'm not watching myself. But I don't think I stim. Although doing that, perhaps when I made that point, may be a form of stimming. I don't know. But yeah, clapping hands and bouncing when happy. Are you harming anyone? No. Carry on doing it, is my view. Smile was a huge part of my mask. It was convenient until I realised it was never a real smile. Oui, exactement. Merci. Ça, c'est, yeah, moi aussi. I knew that because it was an effort, it was fake. But autism never crept into my head for 40 years. So even though I knew smiles were fake, um, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, well, I'm smiling now. Get off my case. I didn't relate it to autism. I didn't know what autism was. So I was masking by faking, which is what masking is. So to fit in and get people off my case. You should have 3 drinks: water, food, hydration, something flavour, fun, and tea or coffee, just because I also have drinks going through. Yeah, take your point. And I should get a big, we're talking, I can't believe this. I'm gonna have to wind up shortly because I'm feeling bad that I'm taking up people's time. And I mean, I know a live stream, you're going to take up people's time, but I genuinely did not think that I'd be rabbiting on for 3.5 hours. I'm having a whale of a time. I'm still going, still trucking. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wind up. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be really bossy. Probably put someone out by, because they'll probably join just as I'm clocking off. But I did that with Paul earlier. I was like, Paul's here. And yeah, and then he said, right, that's the end. But I was looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm going to say 10:30. Sorry if that offends. If you're having fun, great. I'll do this again. I might do two on the 30th. Um, and I'll definitely do it next year. Let's say 10:30. And when I said 15 minutes last time, it went on for 45 minutes. Make of that what you will. Um, yeah, so should have more to drink next time. I used to love watching Quantum Leak. Dettol is awful. I like the segue. I used to love watching Quantum Leap. Dettol is awful. I agree, Helen, on both counts. Quantum Leap was great. Was it Sam Bakula? Is that his name? Dean Stockwell, who was in one of the best films ever made, Paris, Texas. Yeah, very much Quantum Leap, which was made in 1989 to 1993 and was on BBC Two in the early 90s. Any UK viewers of a certain age do tell me what channel it was on, because that's the sort of thing that will keep me up at night, not knowing whether Quantum Leap was on BBC Two or Channel 4. But me. I'll do it. If you know before I get to Google, let me know. Okay, sorry if I'm missing comments, as always. Maria, to get on with errands, I'm hosting Christmas dinner this year. Sorry I missed your departure. If you've already gone, Maria, thank you so much. Yes, do errands, do life. You know, I'm preventing you from doing life. You have a similar symptom, Meg, at I'm autistic now. What? You touch your neck. If only I had the reach of Meg at I'm autistic now. What? In terms of YouTube reach, um, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I'd do more of this. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you. So, because I'm not going to watch this back. Why would I? Listen to me rabbit on for 3 hours. That's your job. Do I do that? Meg, do that? Meg, I know Meg's got a bruise there, but she said she pinches. But I don't recall seeing her do that in one of her very heavily edited, brilliant professional YouTube videos. I don't recall her doing that. But yeah, maybe well, clearly I do because I do what Meg I'm autistic now. So by by extension of doing what Meg I'm autistic now what does with the touching neck, I'm in a few months' time, I'm going to be too big for live streams. I'm going to be just doing 45-minute reaction videos. Sorry, guys, you heard it here first. I smile when I'm in pain, or I'm socially confused. I can't help people think I'm happy with the situation, but I'm not. Yeah, I mean, again, Harry, I've heard or read several autistic people say the same thing. And neurotypical people can't compute. You know, they think there's a discrepancy there between what you should be displaying and what you're feeling. And it's like, what are you? Some sort of weirdo? You know, you're smiling when you're in pain, or it's like, again, the criteria should be: is it harming anyone? If the answer is no, then live and let live. You know, so many things about autistic behavior, habits, forms of expression, communication. But are they inherently harmful? No, just different. If I want a monologue about Quantum Leap for 3.5 hours on a Monday evening when I should be spending time with my family, then is it harming? Oh yeah, it's harming people, my family. Not a good example. I've suspected for years that I'm autistic, but what really helped me was meltdowns, dimming out, or instead of flapping, screaming, going into self-harm. Yeah, content warning again, self-harm. Yeah, yeah, I have self-harmed, but only in my teens, in the known grim way. But isn't drinking to excess self-harm? Um, and so on and so on. I know I'm kind of stretching the definition there, but you're punishing yourself, self-harm. But yeah, I've not done the stereotypical, flapping, screaming thing. More like I said, my first live stream. I haven't done a video about meltdown shutdowns. Probably will one day. Tend to shut down more. Don't want to engage with the world. But each to their own. It's a spectrum. I almost sounded like, well, in my head, I sounded like Claire at Woodshed Theory. Then it's a spectrum. She'd start singing then, wouldn't she? Go and check out Claire at Woodshed Theory. She's in the States. Woodshed Theory. She'd go, Woodshed Theory. Oh no, she wouldn't sing, and I don't know why I did that because I knew it would come out wrong. Oh, I hate my own singing voice. I use the word singing loosely. Oh, sorry, Paul. Thank you. You've disappeared probably already. Thank you for your time. And I mean that. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I'm actually quite pleased to see that there are fewer people in the chat than when I last looked, because I'm starting to feel a little bit shy about taking up so much of your time. Bear with me. Tea is life. Yes, absolutely. And if you haven't got a mug with tea is life written on it, you are a mug. Haha. And I include myself in that because I haven't got a mug with tea is life on it. Right, just got back to Russell's Dettol comment. It's worth another reread just to reminisce once again how awful that smell was and that memory is. Let's get back. They should be easier to catch up now because there are fewer people here, and I understand that. Scroll down. Right, Paul said thanks, Neil. Gone. Merry Christmas, Maria. Absolutely. Joyeux Noel. Have I pronounced that right, Cecile? No, I haven't. Joyeux Noel. I should remember that from school. I've suspected for years that I'm autistic, but really, I've got that. I've already done that one. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. 10:30 sounds good. Glad about that. It could be even. It's got 25 people now. Oh crikey! It's gone up 21 to 25 just as I'm winding down. But then that's the nature of it. People can come in anytime. I'm learning as I'm doing. And my daughter, she's not. Oh, she's probably one of the people that's left. Oh God, Dad, boring. She'll probably start banging on her floor, my ceiling, because she can hear my witterings and they're floating up while she's doing something important, like look at TikTok. How dare she? Hubby says Quantum Leap was Channel 2. I thought it was Channel 2. Thank you, Helen. I did think it was Channel 2. So, was it? And it's the X-Files as well. Yeah, X-Files was BBC 2. Was that started on BBC 2 in 1993. Don't you know? In case you need to know that for a pub quiz. Anyone who wants to continue after 10:30 UK, you know what? I might actually do that. Thank you, Harriet. So if I wind up in 6 minutes time, 6 minutes, I'm gonna break my alcohol fast because because I've been rabbiting on. I need something to just smooth the edges. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, because I'm a bit of a high. I like when I go to meetings in town, very important meetings, which I won't go into detail now about those. But they can go on for like similar time, and I do actually talk, but obviously not for 3.5 hours in a row. When I get home, I'm like wired, and yeah, easy reach, within easy reach, one glass, bed. So I could do that and see Paul. Don't think it harms your family to have time apart from interest or self-regulation time. In my opinion, quality is more important than quantity if you're meeting your kids' practical needs. Oh yeah, my kids are being fed. They've got devices. They've got taxi rides to clubs. My wife drove our son Our son, definitely our son, definitely. He's a product of us two, definitely. Um, why am I hesitating? She drove our son to the cinema, and it was not round the corner. It's, just south of Birmingham. So that's not a short car drive. Um, yeah, it's got to see his friends. Bearing in mind he's autistic, so it's not, watching the film, so shared interests, not a lot of talking. Um, and yeah, he had a great time. So yeah, we try, but we get it wrong, and when we get it wrong, usually our daughter's the first person to tell us. Thanks, Grace, if you're still there. And if you're not still there, you'll tell me later. So yeah, I mean, I've told my kids that I'm autistic. I'm not sure my son really grasps the the seriousness of the matter. It's not especially relevant to him, although I think when he gets towards exams and maybe college afterwards, then I might have to have other chat about autism if it has to be that way. Um, but yeah, like you say, as long as they're being looked after and they're loved, then if Dad has this odd hobby, which is not as odd as it was a few years ago, loads of people do YouTube. I tell myself to seem less odd. Then yeah, they've been looked after. They've got their own interests. I've got mine. I think I've been doing this over a year, and I'm not trying to get praise. I'm just saying that it's quite unusual for me to actually stick with something, and that's the ADHD. So, I think the fact that I've been doing this for quite a long time, in comparison to other hobbies that I've had, um, in a weird way, sort of won a bit of respect. I think from my daughter. She's like, "Oh right, that YouTube thing is not just a weird hobby that you're actually taking it seriously, doing live streams." So yeah, she's doing her own thing. Um, so anyway, that was a long tangent, as they have been throughout the evening. Better than Bon Année. I forgot to say it most of the time. Yeah, Bon Année, or Happy New Year, if we can say that already. I'm trying to listen to two streams at once. It reminds me of the time before we had the VCR trying to watch two channels on a pair of TVs at the same time. How on earth did you manage that, Russell? I didn't do that. How did you do that? Well, when was the need for that? Well, the football was on and a cooking program was on, or you know, songs of praise on a Sunday, and that was it, wasn't it? It's just songs of praise. So for non-UK viewers, that was a TV program, obviously, at around about 5:30 on a Sunday in a particular church or cathedral, and people would sing, and I would snore because it was very, very boring. But I'm sorry if you like singing hymns and if you like songs of praise. Um, I did not in my teens because, yeah, I'd rather watch Quantum Leap or X Files. Who wants to watch people singing hymns when you can watch Mulder and Scully track down an alien killer or whatever it was? Um, I showed it late and see. I'm learning, as I said, rewound to the start of the stream, so I'm at nearly an hour from the actual live, but I'm watching it. I've not just because it's almost 10:30 in the evening in the UK. I Even if I was bright and breezy, I still would not understand that. I didn't even know you could rewind that. Perhaps that's obvious to everyone else, but it's not obvious to me. Every time I try to do two things at once, I do them both wrong. Cécile, moi aussi, exactement. I cannot do two things at once. One thing at a time, please. Although I say that, I'm trying to do chat and talk my nonsense at the same time. I suppose that's two things at the same time. That's pushing it a bit. Michael, there was a late welcome shine from the inside. I never watched television much growing up, but I took a great liking to the spaghetti westerns. Grand. And it is 10:30, and I would have missed Sam Pakula. There we are. Just Scott Bakula. Scott Bakula, thank you. Zone E. Sorry, I've just called it that because I'm all over the place with the chat. Yes, Scott Bakula. I'm not sure he's still around. Dean Stockwell's still around. I shall Google it, and I shall go and join Paul at Adult with Autism, who's doing his second live stream. And yeah, if he's still doing it as we speak. And thank you. 3 hours, 39 minutes. I just wish days at work went as fast as this. It's just incredible time. I've had so much fun, and it feels like an hour and a half at a push. It's actually 3 hours, 40 minutes. So I'm going to break the YouTube by storing this on my channel because it's such a long recording. The world's going to grind to a halt because this will drop into my channel and the YouTube bandwidth will not be big enough. Or maybe I don't understand how technology and the internet works. Probably the latter. So I'm going to bid you farewell. Just make sure I catch the rest of the comments coming in. Time for the dinner. Thanks, Neil. Thank you, Vera. Obrigada. Feminine. Portuguese. Thank you. Probably got that wrong. Sorry. Don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, don't forget to like. I know you like because you're here. But if you need to click a button to convey that, to enhance the profile of the channel, and in doing so, invite more autistic people to connect, then like, please, for that reason, like, to make this more accessible to more autistic people and non-autistic people so that they can learn about some random autistic person's perspective. So yeah, do all the liking and the sharing, whatever. Sorry, I got it wrong. Obrigado. Yeah, I knew that. Sorry, Vera. Yeah, obrigado, because I'm a guy. Cool. Jolly Wassail, Merry Christmas to you as well, Michael. Thank you. And Cecile, merci. Bonsoir. 44 likes. Oui. Oui. So, yes, oui. Merci beaucoup. Sorry about the French. Je suis désolé. Je peux parler petit peu français. C'est ça. C'est tout. And I will leave it at that. And I might see some of you at Paul's Adult with Autism live stream. And even if you can't make it to this live stream, do dip into his channel. He's got loads of great videos. And if you know of any other autistic YouTubers that I might not be aware of, well, keep them for another day. Tell me at another live stream or email me, autistic.alien@gmail.com. If you want to share random information about anything that you're interested in, email address. Have a great Christmas, and I think I will schedule in at least one live stream on the 30th of December. Sorry if the timing doesn't quite work out. It's not convenient, but that's the way it goes. I'm not going to please everyone. So there was some sort of catchphrase suggestion last time. I think I'm just going to stick with what I normally say. This is sounding really contrived, but I was going to say it anyway. Thank you for listening and take care. And I'm going to do a 3, 2, 1 because I hate ending Teams calls, Zoom calls, live streams, because yeah, I feel like whenever I do it, I've missed out a comment. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been a blast. 3 hours 43, incredible. Merci tout le monde. À bientôt. Merry Christmas, and hopefully see you all, some of you, at some point soon in YouTube comment section or on the live stream, or maybe in real life. Who knows? Take care, everyone. See you soon.